La. La. Okay. Oh, that's better. Fucking better.
So this should be Stelios's favourite segment of
Why?
the podcast. Whores. Whores.
And strippers.
See, I told you. I put a smile on his face
He's
already.
in the zone.
Harry, you had my curiosity. Now you got my attention.
Oh, did this desk just raise a few? Anyway, so whores. Sadly, in the modern period that we live in, young girls have more opportunities than ever to become whores at a very young age. Many of them, or at least too many of them, basically as soon as they turn 18, can immediately sign up to OnlyFans and start selling pictures and videos of themselves to creeps across the internet. But what happens when the inevitable spiritual and mental degradation that comes with that behavior starts to get to them? Is there redemption? Is there a path outside of it? And that's what I want to examine today. I will also just preface all of this by saying OnlyFans as a platform, internet pornography more broadly, but OnlyFans specifically for the sake of this, is a heinous and disgusting platform that really should be banned because it gives these young girls, and they pay purposefully for promotion and advertising across newspapers for news stories about young girls who immediately signed up on their 18th birthday and made millions of dollars in a single day to promote that platform, giving these girls the idea that as soon as they are able to, they should become internet porn stars, which is a disgusting thing to encourage young girls to do. Remember that these are people's daughters, sisters, future mothers, and this is really, really bad for them. Just on a personal level, outside of all of the men who enable it, outside of the fact that they're enabling men's bad behavior as well, spiritually, it is a horrible, horrible poison that they are inflicting on themselves. And so what happens when that gets to them? Well, Lily Phillips,
Why are you
of
not
all people,
sleeping, Steve?
who you may remember from, I
I'm
think I
awake.
do not have the tweet on here, but you may remember at the end of around 2024, there were viral clips of her going around where she was crying and weeping because she had done a challenge for her OnlyFans page where she had slept with 100 men in 12 hours, I think, and it was caught as part of some documentary that was being made on it, her crying afterwards. Now, I saw some people trying to make excuses for this, saying that this was because, oh, she had something in her eye. I'm sure some of it did get in her eye, but she also just seems genuinely very upset and was speaking about how she had begun dissociating during the experience, and that of the 100 men, or over 100, I don't know how many, she could only really remember 9 or 10. Now, that to me sounds like a very unhealthy experience to put yourself through. On a personal level, that sounds damaging. And since then, she leaned into that. Her and that Bonnie Blue woman kind of went through a period of challenging one another in competition where they would do one extreme sex stunt after another to try and top what the other one had done. And that led to one stunt where this Lily Phillips, I think, slept with over 1,000 men.
Which is the sort of thing that would happen to you if you were captured by some sort of Mongol warlord, you know, in the Middle Ages, not out of your own choice.
But she put herself through it on purpose. And then, surprise news came at the end of last year, on the 28th of December, 2025, she was, quote-unquote, rebaptized on camera, as all of the most sincere baptisms are, and stated that she had rededicated her life to God. This is despite the fact that she still has a up-and-running OnlyFans account, and I wouldn't recommend going on it, But if you go on her Twitter page, she is still just for free posting full frontal nudes of herself.
That's disappointing.
On there as well, which begs the question of how sincere this kind of rededication to her faith is, and
Did
how
she stop her OnlyFans?
No.
Because you'd expect if that was something that was genuine, she would stop
Right.
the OnlyFans. I mean, is that from a theological perspective?
No, she's not stopped.
Is it
It's still active.
Is it too
It's still active. She's
cynical
still
So
of
if
me
you
to ask?
indulge me, this is what I said when I
Go
heard
for
that
it.
she got baptized. Praise the Lord. May she have a sound spiritual director who advises her to stay off social media indefinitely. Instead of promoting these OnlyFans whores every time they set a degenerate record, we should pray for all harlots to turn to Christ. Civilized nations should ban OnlyFans. So I'm with you entirely,
Yeah.
but I didn't know she was still doing this stuff.
She's still doing it. She's still posting some previews for free on her Twitter page. She made a statement about it in one of these insufferable videos where they talk to camera while doing their makeup. And she says that she's still doing it. She's not doing any of the major stunts anymore, but she's still doing the... So maybe she stepped it back a little bit. But she's saying that she's also still pro-gay marriage. She's still pro-abortion.
So then she's not Christian.
She said that she was unhappy because she didn't please everyone.
Well,
And
that was
Samson, I've sent you
Only 1,000 people.
yeah, I've sent you, Samson, the Lotusita segment we did about this. It was with Harry and Josh. Maybe you can just upload it for people to see.
And just for the record, there's no such thing as a rebaptism. It's impossible. Every single denomination recognizes everyone else's baptism. If you're baptized in water and the Spirit, if you're baptized in the name of the Holy Trinity, you're a part of the church. You can't get rebaptized. It's actually a heresy.
Yeah, but this all there are two paths that you can take with examining something like this, which is you can take the cynical path, or you can take a more positive path on this. And the cynical path is
I tried
that
putting Boyer
this
out
is
and he
just the
didn't have
thing
to
that
piss
some
in
of
the
these
rain.
girls
Or he didn't
do.
want to piss in the rain.
They make
In election period.
Listen, if you want to... This is why I'm not voting Reform. Stelios still on the fence. He's not decided
But
yet, clearly.
Before you move on, because you're right to be charitable, you're right to be generous, and there are two people that need to help people like Lily Phillips. One of them is us. We need to be praying for her. As Christians, we need to be praying for all of these harlots to come to Christ. The second person is her priest. He should be telling her that you cannot be living this life and be a Christian. You cannot say, actually, I still support same-sex marriage and abortion. I'm still going to suck dick on camera. You can't do that stuff and be a Christian. And the fact that he's had his face blurred out shows me he's not actually being forthright. He's not being there and saying you've got to choose one or the other. You can be all of it now as a modern Christian in the C of E. You can do that stuff.
The liberal Christianity needs to die.
Yeah.
Have we verified, and by we I don't say
Yeah,
we
we
on
try
this
that.
panel, generally
See how
speaking,
that
have
worked for a
people
little bit.
verified that this baptism has taken place? Because exactly the blurred face on the priest pastor is a bit
I mean, it could be a set.
suspicious.
It could be a set, but so far there doesn't seem any reason to believe that this isn't actually what she believes, that she does believe in God and that she considers herself a Christian.
Yeah, and
She
then
just-
she has there on the profile, let's F, and then world record Slaza.
Well, exactly. This is why you can take the cynical route and say that this is insincere, it's a publicity stunt, etc., etc. But I'm saying that you can take the two paths. I'm not saying which one that I'm taking, but no matter what, she needs to stop this. People need to stop promoting it, because what I was going to say, people like her and Bonnie Blue also act as an advertisement for foreign men coming into this country. Loads and loads of foreign men, particularly of Middle Eastern extraction, and I'm talking about India, Pakistan, the rest of the Middle East, Afghanistan, they will only know and have experience of white women through platforms like OnlyFans and through pornography. So they have this preconceived idea in their heads that blonde-haired, blue-eyed women are all whores. Because women like Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips put videos of themselves online sleeping with hordes and hordes of men. In the videos that you saw of people lining up for those kinds of events, people made a lot of note about the fact that a lot of the men in those queues seemed to be Middle Eastern, seemed to be Pakistani. And so they get this idea from these women, all white women are whores. come to England, come to Europe, and you'll be able to have as much sex with all of the whorish women that you want, as is allowed and encouraged within your religious texts. And then when they get over here, and it turns out actually they're not quite so forthcoming as you were led to believe. Obviously, I'm not saying that it's the only factor, but it's definitely a factor in drawing these men in and making it so that they expect that these women will be whores for them and do whatever they want and behave that way. That's not to take away their agency. That's not to suggest they wouldn't behave like that anyway, because they certainly would. We know that from the Pakistani rape gangs. But it's certainly a factor drawing them in. And that's where I want to come to something else. If we were to take the less cynical route, I was very cynical initially when this woman, Nala Ray, became the poster child for this kind of thing. And I was very, very worried that she had done a few years on OnlyFans, made millions of dollars, and then decided to convert and stop for good publicity so that she would be able to basically take the money and run without taking the responsibility. And I can still say that there is some cynicism here, but there is something else that she speaks about that I'll get onto in a moment, which is the really dark side that draws a lot of these women into this. Because you've got to understand, a lot of girls understand implicitly whether or not they want to take the liberal feminist line of supporting it. Oh, it's all about girl power. We can do what we want. We don't have to take responsibility, yada, yada. There is a real dark side to this, which is what goes on in a lot of these girls' youths, what happened in their childhood, how they've been manipulated and groomed by sometimes their own family members. Like Bonnie Blue is quite notorious that her own family is her management.
It's very
her
weird.
Parents.
Yeah, it's very weird for people who act in such ways to have a normal family background.
Any father who can stand beside his daughter and help arrange and manage her career when this is her career has something very suspicious about him, as far as I'm concerned. That's my own personal views, but still, I don't look at a man like that. I don't look at a man like that without suspicion.
Right.
And that's one of the other news things that's come up recently is this girl. I'd never heard of her before, but this news story started popping up in places where I could see it, which was teen influencer Piper Rockell says OnlyFans changed her life after eye-watering day one earnings. And this is the kind of headline that I say is being used to draw these women in, to draw young girls in. You hit 18, start on the first day. If you've got an internet personality already, if you've got a following, imagine how many creeps in your audience are going to want to sign up straight away because that's what they've been watching for you in the first place. And this is one of the big dangers of girls on the internet when they're children and teenagers in the first place, is there are so many creeps out there who are just following them so that they can perv on them. And this is rewarding those people as well by encouraging it, by knowing that, as soon as they turn 18, I'll be able to get the good stuff then. But this is a situation where this girl had been a YouTube influencer since she was 8 years old, right? She had been managed by her mother, Tiffany Smith, and in a now deleted X post, Raquel shared a screenshot of her day one earnings. It was something like $2.9 million.
And she's so young that she lacks the maturity and wisdom to realise.
She just turned 18.
Is her mother still managing her?
Yes.
That's sick.
And this is some pretty depraved stuff. Ahead of her OnlyFans launch, Raquel uploaded an Instagram video with her grandmother, predicting that she would make $2 million in her first day. So her own grandmother is involved and on board with this as well. And this is a girl who'd been put on the internet from a very, very young age, managed entirely by her mother and the rest of her family.
So her family,
involved
they
as
need
well.
arresting for grooming.
Realistically,
they have groomed their own daughter and to whore her out for $2 million.
But that's what it appears right now. But also, even more worryingly, Raquel is known for the 2022 scandal involving her mother, which became the subject of a Netflix docuseries Bad Influence, The Dark Side of Kidfluencing. Following her daughter's rise to fame, Smith created The Squad, enlisting several other fellow child influencers to start collaborating on videos. Smith was later sued by 11 former squad members for alleged, quote, emotional, verbal, physical, and at times sexual abuse while creating content for the latter's YouTube channel. To this day, Raquel has remained loyal to her mother, insisting that she did not do any of those things that they said, and I'll stand by my mom to the end. The lawsuit eventually was settled outside of court, with both parties agreeing to a $1.8 million settlement.
I want to say that one of the greatest myths, which actually really bad, I'm not saying it's good, but it's a myth that is really influential, is that which says that every parent loves their children.
Unfortunately, it's not true.
Sadly, this parent evidently just saw her child as an asset to make money off of.
And other people's children, it seems.
Yeah, as well, and take advantage of them. And who knows, I mean, it's suggested there in some pretty awful ways. So a lot of these girls who are being put onto these platforms at a very, very young age are not coming from good backgrounds. They have very damaged backgrounds. They have very toxic parents, very bad relationships with the people around them. And that's where I come back to Nala Ray. And again, I understand people who are still very cynical about her, who don't trust that this is necessarily sincere. But at the very least, from what is being reported, she does seem to actually be trying to do something positive off of the back of her conversion, and also to try and prevent other girls from going onto the platform. And it talks about here how she is an outspoken anti-pornography advocate following it, and it talks about her past here. And you can say that this is a sob story or whatever, but the fact is, a lot of these girls will have similar backgrounds. So it talks about how her father and her mother, they lost their house in a hurricane when she was like 6 years. I've forgotten her name. There was the American woman a few years ago who did the expose on some of the Pornhub producers, where they said that they were pushing their algorithms in such a way to try and encourage young boys to go onto gay and trans pornography. Because again, you say, well, they're not gay, so they're not going to get into it. Well, actually, they've been desensitized to this stuff, and if it's being constantly pushed in their face, just to seek that thrill, they might click on it. That's how these algorithms work to try and push onto it. But this is the feedback, but it also works for these people as well, the creators, because they're pushed to make this gratuitous content, she says. And she says that she ended up relying on marijuana and alcohol to get through particularly tough filming days. Anything, she said, to numb herself. So that's a pretty horrible thing to put yourself through, even if you are making millions of dollars off of it, because ultimately the humiliation you're putting yourself through makes you realize that you're treating yourself as an object. You're destroying all of your self-worth. And ask yourself, you know, as a father, as a brother, as a son, the women in your life, even if they were making millions and millions of dollars, you don't want them to put them through that, put themselves through that either.
There's more to life than money.
There certainly is. And Ray now says that she still has a lot of empathy for women who do OnlyFans, though she disagrees with their actions. She knows that many girls have struggled in ways that few will ever understand. She says, I have a heart for the OnlyFans girls, not only because I was one, but I saw it. So many girls were like, oh, my dad abused me. My stepdad tried to do things with me. I don't have a dad. My dad ran away. My mom hates me. I heard it all. Behavior is a symptom of what's really going on underneath, right? Hurt damages people so bad, and shame will lead you into things that you have never thought that you would do.
It usually comes from a dysfunctional family.
When they ask for it, she now helps guide people through the process of quitting OnlyFans. She recalls one model who deleted her account after flying to Tennessee to have a heart-to-heart with her in person. So I actually think that's probably the best way that she can go about using the influence that she has gained from her notoriety in the first place. And it does seem that she has tried to take on a legitimate and sincere path to redemption. I hope that she sticks on that
it was the audio bit, right? I thought it was the
in kind of rededicating herself
I keep
to
assuming
her
it's the
faith,
video
even if
stuff,
it is
but
only half-heartedly right now, or insincerely, you might argue. I can only hope
the
that she's
audio
taken
bit rate
a
was
positive
low.
step on this path.
I don't
and
know
this
why.
will lead to her abandoning it and disavowing it in the future. And I can only hope the same for all of these women. But really, the most effective way of preventing this would be cutting it off at the source, and for governments across the world to take action against platforms like OnlyFans, which do encourage this behavior, purely for the sake of profit. They're not caring about women's liberation. They don't care. You at home who might watch this and say, God damn it, I have the God-given right to goon. You do not have the God-given right to goon, first of all. But second, the
Yeah, you thought this too, yeah. Because we normally have problems when we're playing some games with like the video out, right? But seems to be better. We got this slump. Ooh, high
If you
society,
were to
yeah.
tell me that Anissa Jomha was going to be exposed for withholding some very important information, and the one exposing this info would be herself,
I
would've been
love
like,
it.
You know what? That's on track on how stupid these people are. At this point, nothing shocks me. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Happy New Year, even though it's January 6th. But very briefly, I want to say that in case you guys missed it, a few days ago, about 2 to 3 days ago, I dropped a video, and some of you might be like, yo, I haven't seen that one yet. And I don't blame you, because that video got completely cooked. It got completely nuked for bullying and harassment, even though I wasn't the one doing the bullying and harassment. In a crazy plot twist, the video got put back after almost a whole day. The video was only up for 4 hours, and then it got taken down for almost a full day. So yeah, I pretty much killed that whole video. But I think it's a fun one. I think it's one of the funniest that I've done yet. In case you want to keep watching sensitive society videos after this one, feel free to hop on the other one. Now, today's video is very special because it really does show you without a shadow of a doubt that these people have a combined IQ of approximately 3. And it all started because iDubbbz and Anissa had to open their mouth.
Lord
Yeah.
texted us the other day.
Dude, he texts us all the time, man.
All the time.
It's
and we
so
never
annoying.
Respond. You should see Ian's phone. Well, it's a group text.
Yeah.
It's like maybe 12 unhinged texts in a row.
Yeah.
The most recent one was it makes it easier to ignore him because you can tell he's in
Great
severe
pain.
pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah, Anissa. Honestly, whatever you say, Anissa. You want to keep killing my career, Anissa. You can do it, Anissa. You want to chill out doing that because last time I did that, it got.
I am using
it
magic.
got the whole video taken down south.
I'm taking the Osmongold approach of
I'm
whatever
gonna
works
behave,
the
I'm
best
gonna go
is what I'm
homeless
using right
on
now.
Anissa tonight.
Because look at this.
So the
Look at this.
person
I got
we're
this
talking about
sword
here,
with.
the stalker, the person that keeps.
Isn't that beautiful?
DMing like crazy
And I love
on
this
games.
sword.
It's
I
Ethan
really
Hunt
do.
from H3H3.
But magic
I
is
don't
just so
think
much
I've ever
easier for
seen
kiting
someone
things.
put their
It's
foot
like
in
when
their
big
mouth
things are coming
so
at me and they're
often
too
as
strong for
these
me.
two. Like,
I
these
just
people
I just
have
zap them
burned
and walk
all
away. Zap
bridges,
them and walk
and
away.
Anissa Jomha
It's
and
very
iDubbbz,
convenient.
the Jomhas,
Uh,
if you will,
but this
pretty
sword
much
is
said,
sick.
Ethan Klein
Whoa.
is unhinged. This guy's crazy. This guy's loco. He won't leave us alone. He's harassing us, guys. He's a stalker. Ethan came out with the receipts and he says one text in the past 6 months, by the way. They were talking, or at least Ethan was mad when the content cop dropped. This is malicious, yada yada yada. And he says no text since then, and this is the last text that he sent. Ethan says, hey guys, hope you guys are both miserable. Say hi to the 100 people watching your stream. How's the unemployment benefits in Canada? Which I don't think this is obsessive nor stalker behavior. If anything, I'm surprised that Ethan hasn't been blocked by them. But wait, there's more. We got the list. Not the list that you and I and everyone's waiting for. Not the Epstein list. And at this point, we're never getting that. We got the list of messages by Ethan Klein. And I mean, feel free to pause if you want. But this is just Ethan showing us that he's not really obsessively texting. He's just mad about the whole content cop situation. And Ian
Going a fucking
responds,
hole.
which I'm guessing that's just Anissa. And then he continues to text. I mean, it's nothing crazy. This doesn't seem obsessive. This is just someone who's mad.
On another hole.
A friend that a colleague like iDubbbz would pretty much turn heel on Ethan and drop a back-to-back content cop, which if anything, the only person that got hurt from that content cop and content cop deputy or whatever the fuck
Well,
it's
if you
called,
if you
the
want
only
real
person that was
magic,
hurt by
there's
that was
staffs.
iDubbbz. The
That's
person
just a
that
wand I
got
use
hit
for
was-
whipping
ever
bitches.
since then, as a matter of
But there's
fact, let me back up
there's
my
stabs in
tweets.
the game,
Right, so
and
8
the
months
stabs
ago,
can
we
cast
called the
different
content cop,
spells. It's
right?
very cool.
8 million views. pretty solid.
Like
Follow
meteor
up to
meteor
the
showers one that guy
videos that
recently.
only dropped 4 videos.
It's
And then
dope
he
as
wonders
fuck.
why he's homeless. But ever since then,
And you know,
the
you want to know what the
views keep getting
punishment for
lower
using
and lower and
really, really big spells are? You get negative time in the shroud, which for you means nothing. So there's no drawbacks for you to use big spells, because you don't go in the shroud.
lower. The only person that was affected by the content cop wasn't Ethan, it was Ian. There's only 2 parties that benefited from the content cop: Slob Tubers, I'll count myself in, and Ethan Klein. This completely backfired. This person says, why would you lie about something A, so easily disproved, and B, against someone who has a track record of putting their truth out there and letting it all hang out? Another Jama L, to the shock of absolute no one. May 5th to December 13th, 0 text, and yet he texts us all the time. This is what, line number 457 from the Jamhas. You and I, my amigos and amigas, we're all big brain, we're all smart. We could see through the BS, we could see through the lies. But believe it or not, there's a group of people that believe that Ethan Klein is obsessed with iDubbbz, and it's the other way around. And then you wonder why no one watches you and why no one feels bad for you. Now, do you guys remember how at the start I was like, Anissa got exposed, yada yada yada? Well, this is what I was talking about. So let me set the stage. Do you guys remember about a year or 2 ago when Dr. Disrespect got exposed for allegedly
I agree.
texting
This sort of is
minors?
bad.
Everyone was talking about it. I myself made a few videos talking about this situation. Up to that point, no one knew the reason why Dr. Disrespect got banned.
Guard
I didn't know. It was a
of
mystery.
the
It was a
North
mystery
Sword.
for like 3 to 4 years. But then the
Very
truth
cool.
came out, and the reason why I'm saying this is because Anissa allegedly knew that the dog liked them young. So glad Dr. Disrespect news is finally out. I was holding on to the information for years and wasn't allowed to say anything. Someone responds with, same. Also, the fact there's more shit that people don't know yet. Anissa responds, oh shit, so you know. Okay, I wasn't sure how many people knew. I wonder if that will ever come out. So, you're telling me, Lisa Jamha, the wife of Icux, you're telling me that you knew that a 40-year-old man was, I guess, getting it on with a minor, and you held this information for years. You didn't say anything, and victims were hurt. And you didn't speak out, even though you're always bitching and preaching about victims and women need to speak up. You had a platform, yet you decided not to say anything? Do you realize how bad this makes you look? You knew, so you withheld information that could have helped a young girl out. This is so fucked up for so many reasons. This Twitter activist, yet when it's time to actually do something, they do nothing. Great job, Anissa. And on top of that, it's like, why would you admit this? Why do these people always say, I knew this person was a creep all along. I knew it. I mean, I could have done something to stop it, but I didn't. I just knew it. It's like, why? What is wrong with you people? You couldn't feel a little bit of empathy towards the victim. This person says, can you imagine being privy to information on a child molester and you don't immediately disclose it? This is such a bad look, and they're just exposing Anissa. I don't know how Anissa Jamha goes to bed knowing that she's so hated, and some people get unjustified hate, but I think iDubbbz and Anissa, I think the hate they get is quite appropriate. Alright, I was about to end the video, but then I saw this. I have to include this. iDubbbz says his streaming schedule works because his viewers are unemployed.
Do you only stream on the days you do? It's just kind of a weird schedule that doesn't really work for a lot of people. I mean, says you, Jack Red. We have some international viewers, and we have a lot of people who are unemployed, that this is the perfect time for them to be online.
You know what? I actually agree with him. For once, I do believe those 95 people that watch you, they either gonna be brain dead or beyond unemployed. Watch your shitty stream.
Yeah, but unemployed people don't have money, right? There's like that's the whole thing. You want to be streaming when people have money.
Iran now turning deadly, with at least 3 people killed and 17 injured at a protest today, according to a semi-official state
It was
news agency.
3 days ago. 3 days ago. Don't care. Okay.
Oh, listen to this.
I do love taking baths. Chat, can I admit something? I only take baths. I don't shower.
True.
It's spreading.
Baths are
People
OP.
are realizing the error of their ways. They're realizing the fact that I was right about everything, not only with geopolitics, but also with showering as well.
Yeah, because if he showers, then we have this happen. Not good. Not good at all.
But I take sometimes multiple baths a day because I hate feeling dirty.
I never feel dirty because I'm never dirty. Never feel dirty.
Bro, showers didn't exist until like 30 years ago.
Nobody showers.
Meanwhile, people literally been showering for the past 3 millennia.
Dude, people tell me I smell good. Bathing in filth? Okay, but how can you bathe in filth if there's no filth to bathe in? I don't even really get dirty because I don't go outside.
It's spreading. The good word is
True.
spreading among the disciples.
Neither of you go
The mirror
outside.
describes Usman's smell.
He smells like dust.
That's even worse than if she just said he smelled like shit.
Spreading. These streamers all have terrible hygiene. No, it's all fake. It's all fake. A terrible hygiene. Get the fuck out of here, okay? Check the comments on it. What are the comments? Just a taste of that.
Gross.
Do you need direction in your life? Go to Mary. Go to Mary.
Fucking gross.
Why athletes get naked? I'm going to go out on a limb here
Why
and
athletes
say
get naked?
money. I think that's the short answer, but if you want the long answer, let's watch the video.
This is Liz Cambage, full-time WNBA All-Star, one of the greatest players of her generation.
It's crazy because she's built like a tall person. If you just showed me this part of her body, I'd go she's over 6 feet tall.
Career earnings, $900,000.
Wow.
Earnings on OnlyFans, $1.5 million in her first week.
In
That's
in 1 week is crazy because I bet you it was all relative. She was probably comparing her income to the income of other people around her because for most people, $900,000 ain't bad to put a ball in a net. Even if she made that over the course of her career, that's still a pretty good career and that's still a pretty good amount of money. Most people will never see that amount of money in their lives if they're working for $50,000 a year. It takes them 20 years to make that money. So it was probably relative. She was probably comparing her life to other people around her. And selling yourself is you get paid a lot for it.
Right. She made more on OnlyFans in 7 days than in her entire basketball career.
Wow.
She's not the only one. From track and field to bobsled, more and more pro athletes are joining OnlyFans to make a living. Even Douglas Costa and Nick Kyrgios. Now you might think the obvious. These athletes are selling their bodies for money, and the guys at Athletic Interest made a video about it to have fun with the research. But it's more complicated than that. We are not just talking about lower-ranked athletes, but Olympic champions, Wimbledon finalists.
Bro, Olympic champions are low-ranked athletes. The Olympics is not high-paying. I used to play rugby for the USA national team. Here's my bronze medal from the Pan American Games.
Cool.
And when I played rugby, we got paid in gum. We got paid in
gum.
Almost nobody in the Olympics is actually making any kind of money unless you're like Usain Bolt or Michael Phelps, where you're just completely dominant in the sport that you do. That's the only way you're really making money. I used to run D1 track, too, so I still pay attention to the sport. And there was a guy this year, and it's not an Olympic year, but either way, there was a guy this year that was the world leader. He was the world leader in the 400. I think he was running somewhere around like 43.8. I believe his name is Ja'Cory Patterson. Maybe it was 43.5. And, I mean, he was still working at UPS while he was doing this. And if you really think about it, unless you're a trackhead or unless you really like badminton or whatever sport they're showing you on the Olympics, most people really care about the national pride behind it. Most people don't even know the main people that are in these sports. They're just watching and rooting for whoever's from their country. So, yeah, 99.9% of Olympic athletes aren't really making a livable wage.
Many of those athletes join a platform that is popular for pornography. How much money are they making? And what does this say about the current sports and creator economy? As it turns out, there is a much bigger picture. Welcome to Athletic Interest and the OnlyFans business of athletes. OnlyFans has managed to do something that most companies fail. They took something people were used to getting for free and convinced them to pay for it.
Yeah.
The numbers speak for themselves.
I love
Over
that.
350 million users.
Wow.
Nearly $8 billion in revenue.
Women's sport doesn't pay as well as men's, so it kind of makes sense. Yeah, it does make sense. It's like, I love I love that everything will be in its place eventually. Like the people can force things into a place for a certain amount of time, but eventually things just go to where biology insists that it be. So like you can dedicate your whole life as a woman to being the best of the best in your field. And maybe your top 0.001% of, volleyballers or whatever. But but you'll never make as much money and be as quote unquote successful as as if you just went on OnlyFans, just showed them titties. Like I don't know. It's a funny, weird, hard truth. Yeah. It just tells you that the people who do this are either already achieved their own personal goals of wherever they wanted to be athletically, and they're just looking for a quick, bag of cash on the way out, and they don't care about their pride or whatever, or that they were always in it for the money. They were always in it to be a professional athlete to make good money, and they found out they don't make good money doing that. They found out they make good money doing something else.
In 2024. Wow. And a large chunk of that went straight
Which is fine.
to creators.
It's fine. I'm not judging, all right?
It's $1 billion more than the combined salaries of every NBA player. Sure, there are way more creators on OnlyFans than players in the NBA, but it's also a lot easier to start an OnlyFans than to land an NBA contract.
Yeah, that's
this
true.
is no career advice, by the way. The point
it's just different kinds of balls you playing with. That's the only difference.
The top earners make a lot of money. Like Sophie Rain, who shared a screenshot of her yearly earnings. Minus the fee, she makes roughly $3 million.
Yeah, well, prostitution is very profitable. I mean, if you're going to sell your soul, at least do it for a good wage, right?
But that's
at
still
least do it for a good
ridiculous to
wage.
what this
For
guy
real.
makes. Sorry for all the numbers,
Of
but we're getting
course.
somewhere, promise. OnlyFans has just 42 employees. That works out to over $31 million in revenue per employee.
The biggest pimp, the most well-paid pimp in the world. Look at
The
that.
most
Digital
well-paid
That's
pimp
more
in
than
the world.
Google,
I
Apple,
love
Meta,
this.
you name it. And since the company is completely bootstrapped with no
Most
outside investors,
well-paid pimp.
he took home nearly $500 million in dividends last year.
He digitally
So
pimping.
naturally, other social media platforms started to think, let's do subscriptions too.
Yeah.
Elon Musk even changed the policy to allow porn on his platform. But subscriptions are only part of the OnlyFans business
Yeah,
model.
I think that our entire economy in America at this point is built off of content creators, streamers, and OnlyFans girls. I think that's our entire economy at this point.
Despite looking
that would
like
suck.
other social media platforms, OnlyFans runs
Your head
on
hurts?
a completely different business model.
Yeah, maybe you should try and
you won't
snap.
find them on any app store. Apple's terms don't allow platforms with sexually explicit content, so OnlyFans operates entirely outside the app ecosystem.
Yeah, and since a lot of apps don't allow for these people to promote their content, they've gotten really creative about the type of videos they make that lead people to the content that they make. Like, this is a whole thing now. Like, you'll see girls starting at 16 years old on TikTok building an audience so that when they turn 18, they can start doing it. I think it actually just happened a couple days ago. Some girl that's been on TikTok for, like, since she was 15 just started one, and now she made like 1.3 million in a couple days or something like that. Like, these young girls aren't even giving life a chance anymore. Like, people used to do this type of work, quit, and then get a career. Now they're quitting their career to do this type of stuff. So it's just a whole different world now.
Most social media companies make their money from advertisers. But OnlyFans makes all of their money directly from their creators. And those creators get paid directly by their fans. OnlyFans takes a 20% cut, and the rest goes to the creator.
Wow, that's better than my split on YouTube. YouTube pimping me out harder than OnlyFans is. I think on YouTube you get like a 50-50 split. Maybe if you're talking somebody like Mr. Beast, I'm sure he got a whole team together, some lawyers. They probably got a direct line to YouTube. They've had conversations where he might have somehow got a different split because he's that important to YouTube. But outside of that, everybody else just doing a 50-50 split with YouTube, so we getting pimped even harder.
It's more generous and more transparent than most other platforms. YouTube, for example, shares around 45%.
They getting more than we
Only
are.
with selected channels. Don't worry.
Crazy.
We're not
And if you donate to any of the channels or you send in super chats during live streams, that split is like 70-30. So it's a little bit better for the content creator. But if you send in $100, 30 of those dollars is just going straight to YouTube. That's why some people like to put their like Cash App links and Zelle and stuff in their bios.
anytime soon. Now OnlyFans
So YouTube don't skim off the top.
revenue sharing. And they have way fewer users than
Wow.
YouTube or Facebook.
Wow.
There's one key difference.
Bro, simps are so profitable. Look at that. Look at how few people are active on there, and look at how much more money they make than all these other companies.
I want
Because
donut.
they are not on the App Store. They don't have to give
I've been
Apple
getting
or
awful
Google
sleepy
15 to 30%
Yeah, one of the things I want to do today is
I didn't even know
is
that Apple
toss
and
up
Google
the
was getting 15 to 30% of every transaction. That's amazing. I know they're rolling in dough.
They can sustain
the mattress a little
80-20
bit
split.
because
If Apple was already taking 30%,
I think I actually messed the mattress up by adding cushion to it. Because I think the main benefit of the foam is that it squishes and forms to your body. But when you put so many layers of fabric on top of it, it squishes but doesn't form. So it just ends up just like getting kind of flat. So we actually need more foam, less comforters underneath it so that it stays floofy. But could also be just your body's adjusting to your diet, and that's causing your sleep to be irregular. Who knows?
there's no way OnlyFans could afford to pay creators 80%.
Okay, I don't care about this. I do understand it, and I like the thought that female athletes are gonna be strippers, but that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to give you back the squish. I think I took away the squish. I didn't mean to. I'm gonna bring the squish back. Promise.
Welcome back, tribes. So women have now launched a coalition on immigration because they're getting enriched so much. In Sweden, 1 in 4 potentially, and in the UK, even worse now. So let's see women combating open borders that they voted for.
So I co-authored the report with my colleague, Barbara McCarthy. We were aware of anecdotal...
At least that's what I think it is. Now, I'm going to be shocked if they advocate for more mass migration and open borders. Let's find out.
Evidence.
I have no idea.
An increase in fear, a lack of safety. Women were reporting this. And obviously we had the horrific case of the alleged rape of a 10-year-old on the grounds of City West. So we decided to take a dive into the data as it exists across Europe. And we took a random sample of 6...
10 years old. These people are sick. The death penalty should be coming back en masse, in the UK and Europe in general.
EU countries, EU member states, and what we found was quite stark. So it turns out that in these member states where criminal statistics on sexual offending is released and is published with regard to the ethnicity and the country of origin of the men involved, it turns out that non-national men in these countries are 3 to 4 times more likely to be involved in sexual offending than native men of those host countries.
That's racist. So now older white women are coming to the same conclusions that we have been saying this entire time, got labeled as misogynists, got labeled as bigots, phobes, and racists, that inviting third worlders into a first world nation will never work, that opening the border will never work, that these people do not belong here. They will never be able to assimilate, and they don't even want to assimilate. They actively talk about taking over, about replacing you, subjugating you. For example, they're talking about Sharia law all over Europe, and they want to institute Sharia. All we're waiting for is for our numbers to grow. We outbreed you, we this, that, and the other. And they say this openly. And Europeans, so stupid, the liberal ones at least, that they buy into this whole kumbaya, we could all live together. Diversity is great. Diversity is our strength. When they literally have UN reports that tell you that a diversified community, a diverse community, has lower civic engagement. People trust each other less. Everything from birth rates to like religious engagement, to knowing your neighbors, to, getting into government, to keeping the neighborhood clean, to whatever it is, all of that stuff, the neighborhood, the cohesion down at the neighbor level completely falls apart. We are tribal creatures by nature. That is why, for example, the United States is as open as it is. You have black neighborhoods, white neighborhoods, Hispanic neighborhoods, and even within those communities, Asian neighborhoods, you have a separation between those people. You have Mexican neighborhoods, Dominican neighborhoods, for example, neighborhoods where Chinese people live only, or only
It's been
Japanese
too hot, you
people.
think?
Even within the race, the certain ethnicities
Yeah,
there
maybe we keep the heater
are
off,
still separate.
and we keep the other big blanket up here. So if you do get cold, you can kind of like cover yourself, but otherwise, you be alright. I like sleeping in the cold too.
Separating
I
each other
sleep
out
better in the cold.
around ethnic backgrounds. So you're trying to tell me that somehow inviting all these people here who speak different languages, different cultures, different values, different systems would look at you less than they would at their own people? You didn't know that this cohesion was all a lie? All multiculturalism does and diversity is destabilize everything wherever it is placed. The only reason they want to diversify America is to destabilize America. They want to diversify Europe. They want to make it multicultural so they can destabilize Europe. No other country on earth would ever accept this. This premise is absolutely insane. No, we do not want third worlders in our countries. No, immigration has to stop. Most immigrants need to be deported. Re-immigration has to be a conversation because most don't come from countries whose backgrounds are aligned with first world Western nations, which is, be out loud and say the truth, white Christian West. That's really what it is. Japanese people do very well. East Asians in general, Chinese and Koreans do well because their systems, their culture is set up to succeed in these countries. But there are other nations that don't and have very primitive cultures or are very violent. And it's just two different worlds apart, literally. You can't bring somebody that has been herding goats, protecting them with AK-47s, has a nomadic lifestyle or whatever, and then you take him from that life and then you bring him into a first world country when he's used to like taking brides, taking women, mass endemic levels of rape in some of these countries. They treat women like absolute filth animals. And then you expected them to come to the West, and all of a sudden, what? The liberals like, welcome to our diverse, progressive ideology and this like, bouquet of beauty that we have here called democracy. And no, you can't touch women in those places. No, you can't rape a 10-year-old. No, you can't do that here. That's not allowed. And the guy goes, sorry, I didn't know. And then the judges go, oh, you're free to go. That was us. We failed. We have failed you to be. We weren't inclusive enough for you in our side. How can we do so much better next time so that you don't have an urge for a 10-year-old? Or like maybe we should provide him with tenure. Like this is how fucking insane these liberals are. This is how insane the progressive ideology is. It is racist for you to have high standards for people coming into your country. Jailing criminals is somehow a systemic issue. They have been held down by the system. Dude went and stabbed some.
Can't listen to this guy. Too much preaching. I forgot I have a prescription at Walmart I have to pick up today. Oh, gross. Okay.
Diabolical things I want in a man. Number 1, height. My man's got to be
Diabolical
about 6'2".
things I
My
want
last
in a
two
man. I
boyfriends
like
were
that.
6'3", both of them, and they were jacked, and they looked really good. How am I supposed to downgrade from that? So, unfortunately, my next man will have to be 6'2" and up. Number 2.
Women have it completely backwards. Like, she says, how am I meant to downgrade from that? Because in her mind, her dating choices are just meant to get better and better and better as she progresses, as she gets older, as she goes through more relationships. But these women have it completely backwards. Ladies, as you get older, you have to downgrade your expectations because you are less attractive as a viable prospect. Every year that you get older,
I disagree.
every man in your sexual...
I think a woman's peak is 32. 30? 32? Probably 32 these days, to be honest. Women's peak is 32. Hot take.
past diminishes your value. Having two boyfriends in the past who are 6'2" and jacked, that doesn't entitle you to a better one afterwards. It kind of disqualifies you from it. This is so obvious to me, it's so clearly common sense that women's standards need to be decreasing over time, not increasing. I don't know how women don't see this. Like this lady, she's dated two guys in the past that she's talking about, her last two boyfriends, but she's not dating them anymore. So if she wasn't good enough for a relationship with them, why does she think that she's entitled to be in a relationship with a man who's even better? Explain that. Like, what is that logic? You're now older and you've got baggage from previous relationships. In what world does that entitle you to an upgrade? Like, what is your value system? Imagine if there was a guy who used to be a multi-millionaire and he used to date really beautiful women, but now
Agreed.
he's lost all his money. But he
Hear me out. So, if they're beautiful at like 25 or whatever, they'll be beautiful at 32. Like that. Only slightly less like with that youthful look and more of like a mature look, which is my preference. It's not everybody's preference, so I won't sell you on that. But they either had one or two big relationships where they've got their shit together now. And they've learned all their lessons, and I didn't have to do the potty training, all right? And if the man didn't do the potty training and give up on him, and then they finally figure it out, I'll know right away. At 32, I'll know right away. I'll be like, oh, did you learn from your past two relationships or one relationship? You did? Oh, perfect. Okay, so now we can get to the real good. And if they didn't learn, I'll be like, oh yeah, it was all his fault. He did all the bad things. Got it. Okay, perfect. Fair enough. Keep it moving.
Because I used to
32,
date
peak.
beautiful women,
Peak.
now that I have no money, I'm entitled to date supermodels. Women can clearly see in that instance the guy is delusional. He's lost that which has made him attractive. But somehow women think they're like this magical exception, like they can lose their youth and their sexual purity and it's just going to have no impact. These women, they have no idea.
You would hope. Yeah. That's okay though. It's like a self-selection process. At 32, if they're still like this bitch right here, I'm like, oh, okay, perfect. You're just never gonna you're never gonna peak, you know? You're gonna go up a little bit when you're young, and then you're gonna plateau, and then you're eventually gonna get past that mature hotness and into like kind of like MILF-ish, which isn't my preference, but maybe that's somebody else's preference. And maybe by then they'll have figured it out that they can't just be a bitch all the time. Also, this guy's face, every time he listens to women, he hates women. He hates them. He's a very reasonable person, and he says he doesn't hate them. He kind of feels bad for them and stuff like that. But he hates women. He thinks they're just the most manipulative mother. Ooh, the look on his face, it's not hate, it's disgust. The look on his face when he talks about women is disgust. These subhuman, dishonorable creatures that walk the earth and pretend to be human. And I'm just like, oh shit.
How about that? I need you,
This is the guy that would put all women in the slave pits, and they would only be good for breeding. Same.
I need you fit and going to the gym multiple times a week. I'm sorry, like, I'm just not going to date a fat guy. If I can be in the gym 5 days a week and be fit and care about how I look, you can do it.
Have you ever noticed how much women love the concept of equality when the benefits flow in her direction? She's like, well, I go to the gym 5 times a week, and so he has to as well. That's equality. That's fair. Okay, so that's the value system you have. That's the precedent that's being set. Does that mean if he has a 7-figure income, you have to as well? That's only fair, right? Like, that's equal. And judging by this woman's appearance, look at her necklace, look at her earrings. She's putting on jewelry just to make a TikTok. This
his
is
mom was
clearly a
his
materialistic
mom
woman. She's gonna
relationship
be
probably
after
no
a rich
good.
man. She's
Probably
gonna need
not.
him to fund her life. But I bet
Probably
that if
not.
you suggested that there should be income parity between the two of you, if he can make that much money, then you should be making the same. She would confidently
Probably
say,
no
with
good.
no sense of irony or
I'm
hypocrisy,
gonna eat so I can take
"Oh,
meds.
no, I only date men
Stop
who are
around
wealthier
3
than I
today,
am."
so no
When she
ramen,
gives that
unfortunately.
response, I'd be so
Aw.
tempted to just be quiet.
Yeah, I'd
Just
rather you feel
let the
okay for work
silence speak
than
for itself. Just to see
get
as
another
an
ramen night
experiment,
with
like
you.
how long before the inconsistency of her position finds its way into her awareness. I fear, sadly, that you might be waiting forever. And so you'd probably have to jump in and say, okay, fair enough, I'll make more money than you do. But, you know, you're going to go to the gym 5 days a week. I just want to go once a week, or I want to let myself go. And if she acts outraged, you just say, it was like, well, it's the same thing. You, as a woman, you only want to date a man who's wealthier than you are. I, as a man, only want to date a woman who's hotter than I am, who's in better shape. I'm sure that would just cause a fight and an argument, and she'd reject the premise based on who knows what. But the bottom line is that I'm just sick of women with their selective equality, where that concept is only ever invoked when the benefits flow towards her. Ladies, just stop pretending that you care about fairness. Stop pretending that you want anything to be equal. Just be honest about what you want. Own your selfish impulses. I'll respect you more than what you're doing right now, which is hiding behind these moral principles like you're some kind of noble crusader. Fuck off with that. There's nothing noble about leeching off a man.
Number 3, he cannot have a salary cap. Whatever career.
Picked it. These women, they're so predictable. Of course he can't have a salary cap. She needs her man to make money. She actually makes your typical gold digger look quite wholesome by comparison, because regular gold diggers, they just want the money. Whereas this lady's, she's even greedier than that. She wants the money and the abs.
Reason he needs to have multiple streams of income, and we need to be able to make as much money as possible. That's why I will never date a guy who works in like corporate. What is your 100K salary cap gonna do for me? The max you'll ever be able to get to is like what, 150? Yeah, no, we're good. I need you in a career that is going to make us money. I am a lover of luxury. I like expensive things. I like expensive vacations. So will you if you're my man. So we need a career that can support that. Number 4, whenever.
Yeah, so much to say. You notice that her language, when it comes to the money, is always plural. Like, it's like, we need a career. We need to be making lots of money. You know, you need to be making lots of money for us. I would just love to run the thought experiment of using that same kind of language in relation to her body. Like, we need to be keeping in shape. We need to maintain a trim figure. We need to keep being beautiful. Like, a beautiful body is very important for us. And what is with her standards? She's like, if you're working for corporate, making 150K max, like, what is that going to do for us? What are you talking about? That guy sounds great. He's so much better than anything that you deserve. Why do you think that there'd be a bunch of corporate men on 6-figure salaries who are just desperate to spend all their money on your luxuries? I hate to break your bubble, but materialistic, high-maintenance women with these sexist double standards who speak in like a condescending tone, they're not exactly considered high-quality women. Men aren't desperate to lock down women like you. And let's talk about her tone of voice, because like, I assume she's speaking to her audience, but she sounds so angry. Like she's exhausted and tired, and she's like talking down to her audience. You're probably confused. Why is she even making this video? This is obviously what's happened. It didn't work out for her with her previous boyfriends, you know, the 6'2" jacked guys. And so she's back on the dating market. And I bet she's got a bunch of guys hitting on her, asking her out on dates, but she's offended because she thinks that none of these guys who are hitting on her are good enough for her. You know, they're not of the caliber that she demands. They're not up to her standards. That's why she's so defensive. She's all confused and angry. She's like, I don't understand what's going on. Why are all these men who are so obviously beneath me, why are they hitting on me? And so to express her frustration, she makes this weird defensive TikTok, laying out her standards and her expectations in this like smug, condescending tone. She wants to clear up the confusion so all the men get the message, like, don't talk to me, don't hit on me unless you're up to my standards. But the reason why it's so cringeworthy is because she's completely misjudged what's going on. She shouldn't feel defensive because these guys who are hitting on her, who aren't very tall, who aren't jacked, who don't make as much money as she wants, they are hitting on you because you are not out of their league. What's happening is that you're actually getting very accurate data from the dating market. The real reason why there's so much defensive energy is because She's delusional about what she thinks her quality is. She hasn't yet accepted the fact that she can no longer command a high price in the dating market. She needs to start offering discounts quickly, because the caliber of man that she's describing that she wants, like this tall male model guy with multiple streams of income.
Hmm. Okay.
Who've less sexual experience.
We'll give this
who
a try.
aren't so bitter and defensive with this nasty attitude. He's going to want to date a woman who's sweet
I
and
put it
kind.
at
Those women are in
128
his league.
audio
You
bit
are
rate.
not. It's so embarrassing that she got all dressed up. She's done her hair. She's put on like makeup and jewelry, also that she could film this TikTok. And at no
Which is
point
the
did it actually click
suggested
for her
rate.
that this ridiculous list of standards that she has for the man she wants in her life is just an expression
Okay.
of delusion. When she's
I put
looking
it on
in
the
the mirror,
suggested
it
rate.
doesn't occur to her that she's not as hot as she used to.
The little
She's
YouTube
offended at the
studio,
quality of men who are hitting on her
open
now,
studio
but they are not
recommendations,
doing
very
anything
handy.
wrong. You
It's a
guys
good
are
feature.
playing in the same league. It's clear. That's why they're hitting on you. It's just that you are refusing.
Okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. Women have funny brains. I get it. Is this? This is a different girl, right?
So, who would have thought that years of propaganda about how men are useless and women can do everything that men can do and really well.
Okay, I can't. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like you. I'm just like, man, I can't keep listening to girls talk about stuff. Better so far? Good.
A YouTuber just ended the career of the top Democrat in active office as his run for VP
Ego's
quickly
voice, though.
turned into a shameful exit in his re-election campaign. It's especially satisfying when he previously cheered on the end of Elon.
Got that little stock app? I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So...
Only for Musk's social media site to expose a fraud in his state with over 138 million views, as he now excuses himself from re-election, to which Nick Shirley takes a well-deserved victory lap. It's not every day some citizen journalist ends a nearly 2-decade-long political career, but through the power of freedom of speech on social media sites like X, I think this will become the latest trend online. As while quitting, Walls posted these walls of text nobody cares to read, blaming Donald Trump, saying this is the Republicans' game, again calling out right-wing YouTubers breaking into daycares, claiming of course he'd win the election, but instead will step aside, again blaming the Republicans and their fraud game.
We've got conspiracy theorist right-wing YouTubers breaking into our daycares, demanding access to our children.
It's amazing how literally none of that happened. Nick went to several daycare centers to find absolutely zero kids, and you can't demand to see something that didn't exist, despite the hundreds of millions of dollars that paid for it. But somehow Walls wants to skew noticing this as racist. But it doesn't change the fact that the Trump administration is now targeting him. As the same day 2K
No women, please.
state, this weirdo coincidentally drops out, taking zero questions.
And at that time, I'll take all your questions. Thank you all.
honestly think everybody in this image is thinking the same thing, as the first to snitch gets the best deal, with Minnesota being the sinking ship with 1, maybe 2 federal lifeboats. And this may be a tinfoil hat theory, but I think the same thing is happening with Maduro, where they miraculously extracted him in the most efficient military operation in modern-day history, where he now happily takes photos with the feds involved in his arrest, which makes me think he cut himself a deal, especially since Trump started posting stuff about fraud, specifically citing what has occurred in Venezuela. And admittedly, I'm grasping at straws, as it's pretty far-fetched to believe something CNN has said back in 2006.
A firm owned by Venezuela could be allowed to take over one of this country's top voting machine firms.
Smartmatic, a private company primarily owned by Venezuelan businessmen. When Chicago had problems with the machines, a dozen Venezuelan employees were there to help with the election. Watchdog groups question why U.S. voting machines would be under the control of citizens of another country, especially a country whose own election process is highly suspect.
So if Maduro starts snitching out Democrats, I'd imagine Minnesota will see the same, as even though Nick Shirley shared over $110 million of potential fraud in a single day, it really seems like this is
Oh, I
just
didn't
the
even
tip
think
of the
about that.
iceberg of what Tim Walz and the Democrats have allowed for decades, as their main claim was Shirley showed up after business hours, despite the fact that some of these places allegedly operate 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. Or when other people try to enroll their kids at the Learning Center, they say they're closed.
Learning
I'm just
Center.
trying to enroll my kid. Can I enroll my kid? His name's Abdi. Abdi.
Yeah, I remember hearing about this in the 2016 elections. That Trump was like, was it Trump? Yeah, I think it was Trump. Trump said before he won that there was some votes being stolen by these machines, these Venezuelan-owned companies' machines. I just didn't connect it recently to kind of what's going on with him grabbing the Venezuelan president. And I think after the 26th election, he tried to investigate it, and the Democrats gave him a hard time about it. But I think they ended up selling the company to an American company, and then the American company went in and then said everything was fine. But by then, it was hard to tell, like all the states weren't giving up all their information. It was just like a big mess. And then when the 2020 happened, Trump had already, during the election that he won, had thought they were cheating. So the one he didn't win, he was like, oh, they're definitely cheating. Like, we just didn't catch it last time because they wouldn't help with the investigation, essentially. Which is why he was so adamant about them cheating. That was the only thing I thought was weird about Trump, was that he won the 26th election. It didn't seem right that he was putting up such a big stink about them cheating him. He could have got more votes, which is what I originally thought. Was just like, oh, he wanted to win by like a bigger landslide. But the more and more you look into it, there probably was some fishy stuff going on with these Venezuelan voting machines that are all over the country, by the way. It's like one company owns like 51% of all the voting machines or some bullshit like that. It's old news to me.
It's 3:48 on a Tuesday.
No, he was not.
And I'm sure
And voting machine things, this is something Asmund Gold said back then. He was just like just look into it. Just look into it. Even if you think it's suspect and it's not good to question the voting process, just look into it. Now that it's out in the air and people are talking about it, just do it. Just go in, see what's going on, and if nothing's going on, then just say nothing's going on. But it was just so much state by state hostility to even looking into the process that was big sus. Yeah, I think that's why I'm pretty sure they had to sell it to an American company after the big debacle in 2016, because that was like the main argument, was that it was foreign interests. But I'm pretty sure who was Trump's advisor back then? His name was like Steve Bannon, I think. Yeah, I think it was Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon said it wasn't even Venezuelan interests; it was the Democrats' interests through a corrupt government of Venezuela. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but they did. I think they did end up selling it to
More
an American
right-wingers
company.
showing up demanding to see the kids, but again, it doesn't seem like those kids exist. Except in this scary Craigslist posting right near the Leering Center, saying we need to hire 20 kids for 3 days. We pay up to $1,500 if you are interested. To which the post has since been deleted.
If you are
Normally,
interested.
I would say that posting is so unbelievably stupid, it's obviously fake. But after seeing the Leering Center, the Jubba Daycare Center teaching the ACBs, posting about their one-star award-winning quality, it's apparently overlooked by this auditing firm, also addressed at a Jubba Value Center. I wouldn't put it past them to post jobs asking if there's any kids' interest in acting like they go to their daycare center. And if this is all true, I don't know which side is worse. The low-effort fraudsters getting away with potentially billions of American tax dollars, or the political system that allowed low-effort fraudsters to get away with billions of American tax dollars. But who was in charge of catching them? This idiot. Where best case, when they got caught, they just rebranded themselves.
Right here, you see a daycare center. It says it's Creative Minds Daycare. Creative Minds Daycare was actually shut down and was reopened the next day underneath the name Super Kids. And just in the past year, in 2025, this daycare alone has received $2.45 million.
To which Nick Shirley showed the receipts. And worst case, they get convicted, but then Minnesota sets them free.
The jury heard evidence that he ran his home health care company, Promise Health, out of a mailbox at a Central Avenue address where multiple other home health care companies were supposedly located.
Seems like everyone's got their hands in Venezuela. Russians, China, Iran. So Dems use it as a proxy to do some backdoor dealings. Super gross. Yeah, it's easily possible. Easily possible.
Yusuf and his wife Lowell Ahmed were charged with stealing $7.2 million of taxpayer money through Medicaid overbilling. Judge Sarah West last week decided they got it wrong.
It's reversing or overturning a jury's verdict.
This is what makes me believe Walz will be implicated in these cases. Therefore, that's the real reason he had to drop out for re-election. Not because he has to resume that stellar work he's been doing as governor, but to prepare for the impending criminal trials to come. As it is a scary scenario for the sitting president to prosecute his political rivals after they lost the presidential race. But sadly, the Democrats already broke that seal. So the mainstream media is going into overdrive to say Walz is not implicated.
As pressure has been growing around this widening welfare fraud scandal. Now, Walz has not been accused of any wrongdoing.
He is not implicated in this at all. This is actually somewhat old news in Minnesota. Minnesota Democrats, even about the wisdom of Governor Walz seeking a third term. They believe that this would hang over the entire re-election effort and perhaps even damage the Democratic Party.
And even though this is Washington, Cam Higbee found connections between Somalian healthcare and Democrat political contributions. As the walls finally collapse in on Walz, I think he's only the first domino to fall, where Minnesota Congresswoman Omar used to post daily from her personal account, but has since stopped ever since Shirley's viral video. As I think this will even spread to California's Governor Newsom. Trump is already cutting funds from him.
And we're not going to pay it anymore. We're going to have Walz go pay. We're not going to pay them, and we're not going to pay California.
As his post says, he not only caught Walz, but believes the governors of California, Illinois, and New York are even worse. And even though Newsom himself can veto the auditing of his insane homeless spending, social media users like Amy Reichert have already started looking into the potential rampant fraud in California's daycare centers, where again, no kids exist, just random adults without the criminal background clearance, which sounds awfully familiar to what occurred in Minneapolis, where, at worst, it's outright fraud. The child care never existed. Parents briefly brought by their families for a cut of the federal funds. Best case, the child care centers cut every single corner, from providing the required outdoor play area, the special licensing needed to operate into the evening, or at the very least, criminal background checks for the adults you were leaving alone with your kids. And all Walz needed to do to discover this is have a single on-site visit to discover what Nick Shirley did. But the saddest aspect about this is you didn't even need on the street noticing. Just checking the numbers would discover that allegedly there's almost 1,800 daycares in Minnesota. 2/3 of them seem Somali-owned, getting paid to care for over 111,000 kids. But there's only 84,000 individuals, with 81% of them being on welfare. I'm no math Asian, but even if they were all kids,
I'm no
we
math
still can't
Asian.
account for the 90,000 daycare attendees we're paying hundreds of millions of dollars for. And even though this sounds like a conspiracy theory, in terms of accuracy, we've been on a 5-year streak. So if you appreciate my concise, modern-day Shakespeare-style commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, hopefully I've earned your subscription and you'll subscribe to Decoy. Or if you want more of my content, check out the live stream channel DK.
People have been asking me to take a look at this clip. Many are calling this the dumbest interviewer ever.
Because there's everything in this. Absolutely everything in this.
You've said things like black women are biologically different than white women.
Everyone is biologically different than everyone.
Yes, they have different fertility windows. They have a higher rate of fertility complications, 50%
But there's no
higher rate.
scientific evidence to prove that a black woman and a white woman are genetically different, right? This is like...
What are you talking about?
This is according,
I mean, it's so false. It is astounding.
Hang on a second. If we can't agree on this, we can't agree on anything about reality, right?
So she's already off to a bad start.
For some people that do believe, like you, that people are genetically different.
It's not a belief. This is objective truth. If you could disprove the existence of genes, you're welcome to do so, but you can't just sit there and say people are not genetically different.
That has historically been used to promote racial hierarchies, right? And that's why I'm asking you.
What has fascinated me recently is Richard Dawkins' work on genes. We are the vessels that are carrying these replicators. Genes are the only constant, the only eternal within biology.
The gene is immortal. In fact, a publisher once, when I showed him the first couple of chapters of The Selfish Gene, said you shouldn't call it that, you should call it the immortal gene. And perhaps I should have done.
Genes are the force that are pushing for replication. Now, there's still a mystery behind why that is.
Genes are immortal in the sense that the coded information they contain is reproduced, is replicated with almost total fidelity, significantly, not absolutely total fidelity, generation after generation after generation, such that there are genes which are identical to what they were tens of millions of years ago, hundreds of millions of years ago in a few cases.
The best science can give us on the advent of life is this primordial soup, and suddenly the first replicators emerge. Yet no one can explain why those first replicators wanted to even replicate. I think there's still a great potential for a larger design.
An individual organism is a throwaway survival machine for the self-replicating coded information which it contains.
We can analyze it at the level almost of like we would be able to analyze computer code.
Yeah.
No.
Like literally, there are genes that code for their skin color. There are genes that...
Again, this is like government data. This is EMI, right? This is the National Institute of Health. This is the American Medical Association. Like there is no scientific evidence to prove that.
And that's a big problem, right? Because
there's no scientific
and that's why I asked.
Like IQ differences.
So right there, he clarifies. He says, yeah, you wouldn't be able to necessarily make claims about IQ differences. Yes, it is something that we do not seem to fully understand, but for me, it's because it doesn't tell me that much. If you were to take the average IQ of the people in my town and compare it to the average IQ of the next town over, yes, there's going to be a discrepancy. There's always going to be a discrepancy. But how much does that actually tell us? Even if I know the average IQ of people with that genetic code skin color.
Black people are genetically different from other populations.
And I'll say that again. There is no scientific evidence to prove that.
No, there's overwhelming scientific evidence to prove that. And he is making that claim here, but she's just not hearing it at all because this is just taboo.
Right, and as people
I'm sorry, I'm stating, do you want to ask an AI if there's scientific evidence to prove that?
No, I want to ask...
because what you're stating is just factually incorrect.
It's a new year and time to make resolutions to upgrade what you're putting into your body. Sponsor
Oh
this
my
video,
God.
Masa Chips. It's the easiest way to eat clean without feeling like you are on a diet. Masa's chips contain out supermarkets. Stop by and pick up a couple of bags before they're gone. I think this is so entertaining for people, and this went viral because he is so exasperated in the face of stupidity. I think many people can relate to this feeling. It doesn't matter what you say. She's arguing something completely different than what he's arguing, even though he could not make it any more clear.
No, because what you're stating is just factually incorrect. Humans are genetically diverse. It's not a bad thing that humans are genetically diverse.
I'm not saying it's a bad or a good thing. I'm saying there is no scientific evidence.
I'm not saying it's a bad or a good thing that people are genetically diverse. I'm saying people are not genetically diverse. That is the argument here.
And I'm saying that is a factual.
He's saying that there is scientific
evidence. There is scientific evidence. There is overwhelming scientific evidence.
In this
basics. No. This is like saying the sky is not blue.
How have we gotten to this point? Because so many people are dismissing biology as a tool for potential oppression. We've seen this manifest in many ways. I had a conversation with Destiny on the importance of scientific objective truth, and he was trying to articulate the idea of, yes, but scientific objective truth can be wielded in dangerous ways. Therefore, well, you need to be careful. So, yep, we should all be careful in all things.
One issue that I run into sometimes when I see people talk about certain issues is there's a phrase that will get tossed around sometimes, and it's this phrase, objective truth or objective scientific truth. And I feel like when people utter this phrase, the phrase is a lot stronger, I think, epistemically than some people realize, as in there's a lot of stuff being asserted there, and you don't need to assert that much stuff to have a particular argument. And I think that the ground that somebody is standing on is a lot less firm than they think when they assert that. And sometimes I feel like people will assert things and they'll call them like objective truths as a way to kind of like axiomatically brush over where legitimate disagreement can exist. As in somebody will say like, oh, well, I believe A, and someone will say, I believe B, and someone will go, well, actually, A is objective truth. And I was like, oh, well, in that case, I guess if you've defined it as such, then I guess it's over. And I guess that's my main frustration with phrases like when people bring up like objective truth, basically.
But what does that have to do with the existence of objective truth? This is what that leads to.
Like, it is genes that code their skin color, right? Those genes are obviously different in them than they are in us. How is that not science? That's just like a basic fact. The genes that code their skin color, their level of melanin production, are different from my genes that code melanin production.
And that's precisely why I was asking this question, because I think for some people that do believe like you, that people
that do believe like you.
People that believe like you that people are genetically different. It's not a belief. This is objective truth.
That has historically been used to
Where to him not crashing out. Yeah.
Objective truth has historically been used in ludicrous ways. Therefore, objective truth does not exist. People today are so fearful of any scientific inquiry into differences at the genetic level because it has been abused in the past.
See, this guy thinks it's fear. I don't think it's fear. I think people like him make the same mistake over and over and over again, thinking that humans are rational, intelligent creatures. Incorrect. Okay, this guy, Legion of Man, you're gonna have to not be on my thing anymore. I can't with you. You're too preachy. You're too preachy, man.
Jeff Dye's Twitter clip on 1225 title. Oh, God. This is what I was supposed to
It was a new face. Oh, 10K?
All right. You got me. You got me. We're going to it right now. Jeff Dye's Twitter clip on Christmas titled Jude. Man, this guy's posting stand-up clips on Christmas. These stand-up comedians are sad. Nothing in their universe but them. Sad. Oh, X just paid me $43. How about that? Barely use X. Okay, hopefully Jeff Dye hasn't blocked me. Here we go. Jeff Dye. 12:25. Jews on Christmas is the name of the stand-up clip. Jesus, man. It's like they can't even see it's underlined. They don't even care it's underlined red, or they even like even that is telling them it's wrong. That they even miss. Forget missing the misspelling. Yeah, I retweeted this. This was like, Jesus, God in heaven. I think Johnny Malloy got him in the comments here. Yeah, and Ben Soyface Avery. Shout out. Very good. Johnny Malloy, very good. The anti-joke for when you don't even want to try, but want to trick people into thinking you're somehow clever with some 4D chess bullshit. And then Ben Soyface Avery said, I should mention that you suck ass. You suck ass. So much, dude. Very good. People, I don't, sometimes I wish that account wouldn't be tweeting at everybody that they suck ass, but I mean, what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do? This guy running this Twitter account, he's been doing it for 3 years. He does good work. He does very, very nice work. Sure, he picks fights with people, and they end up thinking they're me, and they get mad at me, and then I have to like either text them or jump in, but. Keep it up. Keep it up. Where is this clip from old Jeff Dye? Oh, man, did he delete it?
Okay. I gave this guy a chance. All of 3 minutes. Is Lex Freeman ever coming back? What's Lex doing? Yeah. He just posted a video 5 days ago. And then 3 weeks ago was his last video. So he's been gone. Yeah, he's been gone a while. Lex Freeman is not one that you watch every episode of, though. It would drive you crazy. His most recent one is Infinity Paradoxes and Habagabaga Incompleteness in Mathematics. Yeah, it's not one you watch every video of. So the answer to your question is yes, he's back.
Oh my God!
Did I watch
Wait,
this?
I feel like this
I don't know
actually
if I
might be
watched this one.
happening. Holy shit! It might actually be happening. I don't even know what else to say about this. It's time. Yeah, it seems like it's time. And holy fucking shit! Some reason. Yep. Holy shit! Look at all this. Oh my God. They're setting shit on fire too. Wow. Why is every account posting about this from Israel? Iran and Israel are adversaries, and they are direct, active adversaries. Like you could say Iran and Saudi Arabia are adversaries, or Iran and Qatar, or, you know, Israel and Saudi Arabia are, to some degree, rivals or adversaries. But the difference is that they're not bombing each other, right? At least not like the way that Israel and Iran are bombing each other. Israel and Iran are bombing each other like fucking crazy. It's like a 1-to-100 ratio. So Iran, like Israel wants Iran to have regime change because they think that Iranian regime change will cause them to basically stop bombing Israel. Like that's the idea. I think that's the way a lot of Israelis think about it. Now, maybe the government has more nefarious plans, but that's the face value everyday citizen approach to it. Trump said he would defend the protesters if government forces started shooting them. They've started shooting. Yeah, I'm not going to look at any of the shooting videos, right? Of course. And so, yeah, right-wing fundamentalists, Reaganists, and feminists are almost the same. You understand that? You're not trying to argue with me, are you?
You're not trying to argue with me, are you, bitch?
Would you agree white women are the most privileged in the country? Yeah. I don't even... You're getting really opinionated. I don't want to read your messages at my time out. Yeah, I don't know why. You're getting weird. You're getting weird. I'm reading your messages. It's weird.
Talking about white women and their privilege. Don't worry about white women and their privilege.
So you got
worry about
this
your
one
privilege.
over here. What's this? Islamic Republic thugs retreat as Iranians overpower them. Holy shit. Jesus. Look at them go. God damn. Holy shit. Look at all this. This is crazy. You're watching a Japanese scam video today? Yeah, in a little bit, but I want to finish this first, okay? But, yeah, holy fucking shit. 40-man raids be like that? They sure do.
40-man raids be like that.
Tonight, Tehran's moved the needle in our favor. It was always going to be Tehran landing the final blow. Well, yeah, obviously, it's the main fucking capital. The other cities will be encouraged to keep fighting if the capital stays lively. True. Yep, people will be looking at the capital to see where things are going. Wow. Not gonna lie, I'm really happy for the Iranian people. Less Islamic terrorism is good for the whole world. You're goddamn right it is. Absolutely. Yeah, get those nutballs out of power. Death to the dictator? Man. Sure seems like a pretty common theme, huh? Footage clearly shows the launch of surface-to-air missiles and against a helicopter? What the fuck? Oh, this is something else. This is in Venezuela. I think I already saw this before. I guess it didn't even matter, though. Thousands of Iranian demonstrators marched on Tehran. Holy fuck. Is that death to the dictator? Is that it? It's old footage? I'm sure some of it is, but some of it's not. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. What's also crazy about this is it's been going on for a week. Because I feel like, look at this here. Let me actually look and find this out. Poly market. Okay, let's see here. Iran. Where's it at? Ooh. Oh, man. It is going up by a lot. God damn.
Money out of
and so anyway, people are pretty much saying it's been going on for years, believe me. I mean, again, people are voting on this. The result is removed from power ending like the time by June 30th. And the Shah of Iran, what happened there? Yeah, I guess so. Place a bet. Yeah, there's $800,000 that's being wagered on this, which is kind of crazy.
$800,000 on a political event.
That are worth looking, because this is what people actually believe, right? And I think that's what really matters the most. And so this is also what's crazy too, is that the chance of him being out by 2026 is just, it's going up massively. That is crazy. 44% of people think this guy is cooked. So, yeah, it's pretty obvious that, you know, the confidence here is going away. How these riots compare to the last one? I don't know. Do you think if Israel and Iran reach peace, then Israel stop asking so much from the USA and the American people go back to appreciating the alliance and friendship between the people? It is definitely better for us if Iran doesn't have a crazy nutball government. Like, that's really all there is to it. It will have a lot of other second-order effects like that. Yeah, sure. So, definitely. You think taking Maduro had anything to do with that spike? Absolutely it did. Yeah, because the thing is that now that Trump is actually doing something about this stuff, 100% people are like, oh, fuck. This is actually happening. Because there's always, like, there's the assumption that nothing ever happens. It's just going to be more of the same.
True.
There's not going to be a change.
It's
It's
a fair
business as
assumption.
usual. And then something happens like this, and it's just fucking massive. And it changes everything. No more taco? Yeah, Trump always chickens out. Well, apparently not this time. 2022 was much bigger. Here, the main stuff that's different is you have a lot of different parts of the PPS join, like the small business people. Well, it's also that I think that this is the other truth, is that Russia, as far as I know, is like a very close ally to Iran, and they provide Iran with military and also other types of support and reinforcement. But Russia right now is being completely distracted by the Ukraine war. They're being bled dry by the Ukraine war. So they can't help Venezuela. They can't help Iran, because if they do that, then they're not going to be able to keep fighting against fucking Ukraine. And that's by a proxy of the U.S. and the fucking EU. So, yeah, by many Russia. Yes, there you go. Iran's actually been providing Russia with drones and equipment. Oh, I'm sure there's trading back and forth, of course. So, yeah, you weren't around. What is this year? For a first round of 79 coup happened really fast. If not done right, these hardcore Muslims will come back and retake in 15 to 20 years. Well, the thing is that you have to put your foot down on religious extremism. And you have to put the people that are advocating for and pushing for violent religious extremism, you have to put them in jail. You do. You have to do it. Like, whether this is in the United States, whether this is in Europe, whether it's in Iran. Like, the funniest thing is that all the majority Muslim countries know this, and they don't let them do that. The only places that let them do that is places in the U.S. and places in Europe, because we think that we know it better than they do. Well, we don't. And that's the reason why they do it. And so many times first world countries still want to side with them, the dictators, because they don't like what Trump is doing. Insane. Yeah, of course. And so, yeah, it does look like it might actually be the end of this. Streets around actual war zone. There's a province where we now have reports that citizens have armed themselves and made a real militia. Oh, boy. Jesus. Look at all this. It's over for them? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I feel like this is pretty much it. The boys in the Mossad doing work? Yeah, I mean, at least this is a good thing. I definitely think so. And Iranian forces on high alert. I bet they are. Undercover agent from the Islamic regime tries to drag an Iranian teenager into a cop car. Damn. Damn. Oh my God. He just got mobbed down. Yeah, he should be lucky he gets out of there alive. Yeah, this is insane. Let's go to Tehran. Announced about area. Iranian protesters blocked major roads and took to the streets as nationwide anti-Islamic protests came out. What is this? This is new. Holy. God damn. Dude got kicked in the head. If you watch it, damn. Shouldn't have been fucking around.
Shouldn't have been
I mean,
fucking
these people
around.
are trying to oppress you, and like, what do you think they're gonna do whenever that guy gets into the car and he gets to the station? They're probably gonna kill him. You have to be that level of violent against these people, because they're trying to kill you. They're literally trying to kill you. I think people in Western countries don't realize how bad this actually is.
True.
Yeah, be
That's
executed.
okay, though.
Yeah, exactly. They're killing kids, killing anyone. Yeah, of course. Exactly. Probably saved the kid's life. Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. It's good to see. Tortured and then killed. Oh, lovely. Yeah, there's a lot more of this too. Liberals call this Islamophobia. Of course. This is the audio's fucking garbage. The video's garbage too. Let me see. What are they saying? What are they saying here? What does that mean? There's no way it's Charizard. There's no way it's Charizard.
No way it's Charizard.
Johnny Somali? No, there's no way. It's a type of sausage. Long live the king. Oh, damn. And, wow. Okay, and I don't know. No, this is a new one, too. Holy.
It's a type of sausage.
Look at them all. Shit, Return of the King IRL? Well, yeah, people don't... I mean, like, they already have a king. That's the thing. And so, yeah, I mean, they already have this to begin with. Tehran tonight, 8 nights in a row, protests are not going away. Yeah, I mean, it's insane. Like, this has been going on. Like, the fact that it's been going on for over a week now is nuts. Yep. God damn. Get Vitor as a plugin for the browser. It does real-life translations for videos. Oh, I might try and do that. Yeah, how long do you think that it's going to take to get shit flowing again in Iran after they get their regime change? Probably like 2 or 3 years, I'd say. That's realistically where things would be. Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess. Holy. The real problem about Muslim groups of people is they see Westerners on controlling world democracy as colonial reign that must be eradicated. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I don't support the U.S. going in and trying to force this to happen. I think that if this is going to happen, it has to happen by the Iranian people. And also, like, it's clearly already happening. So instead of trying to, like, force it to happen faster, we should just let it happen naturally. People walking around with AK-47s. Yeah, I mean, it's already happening. Popping off. Wow, social media will help this in history? Yeah, of course it will. It absolutely will. And, yeah, anyway, let's see here. But this is also really great to see.
You want Nux or Lex Freeman be like, is that why you brought him up?
The following is a conversation with Satan, acclaimed CEO, entrepreneur, dear friend, and author of the recent best-selling memoirs, From the Depths I Shall Tempt Your Soul. Formerly known as Lucifer, Satan and I have become good friends, bonding over our shared love of literature, quantum physics, and creative methods of torture, like this podcast. As always, I hope to approach this discussion with empathy, to bridge the gap, promote open dialogue, and let love triumph over all, so that I can secure more AG1 partnerships. I'm Lex, and this is my podcast that I made.
Hilarious. Do you have any other ones that are new? Is that why you brought that up? Is that why you brought Lex Freeman up? Because of that? Accurate. Very accurate. I think Lex is a good person, but I think I don't think he's doing anything noble by what he's doing online. I think he's like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan and him are the absolute same. They're both good-natured, good-hearted people who, you know, do some bullshit. Pure coincidence? That's hilarious. But they definitely put a lot of weird stuff on the internet.
Yo, you see the new Odyssey trailer?
Yeah, no, it looked pretty cool.
That movie's goated. It was peak.
Wait, how'd you see it already? I thought it comes out like in the summer.
I haven't seen it yet, but I know it's amazing.
Yeah, but how do you know that if you haven't like seen it yet?
Man, it's okay. Just say you didn't get it.
No one got it. It's not even out yet.
Okay, Doomer Contrarian. I've seen the edits, okay? It's peak.
No, you have to see the whole thing to know if you like it or not.
I know I like it because it's a masterpiece.
How can you have an opinion on something that you haven't seen?
Because engaging with the material is only second to dropping the quickest take I can on the internet. And then gang-banging up on non-glazing dissenters in the comments section.
Why? Why must you glaze that which you haven't experienced yet?
Because it makes me feel shiny inside and superior, like I actually matter.
But then what's the movie for?
My certainty is my salvation. If I can pre-glaze content before it's out, I'm immortal.
How do you even know it exists then?
This is cinema, okay? It's not some Phase 9 Marvel slop. Spoiler alert, there's a Cyclops.
Oh my god, your glazing doesn't make it real.
Chris deserves all the preemptive praise he can get. He needs me. That helmet was hard as fuck, Chris.
Did you see Tenet?
No one saw that trash.
Okay, fine. Never mind. Did you happen to try the new quesarito that they brought back?
Yeah, I did. It was really good.
Did you actually?
No.
Okay.
Yo, you see the new Odyssey trailer?
Yeah, no.
Hilarious.
Man, there's not much left in here. You know, I better be careful, just get one drop only in each eye and be really efficient with the last drops. You know, I'd say those assets are still undervalued. Just give me a moment. Have to put my eye drops in. Man, there's not much left in here. You know, I better be careful, just get one drop only in each eye and be really...
Hey, remember that water bottle you ordered in 2023? No?
It explodes.
What?
It makes mold, it makes acid, it explodes. Oh no.
Wait, holy shit, am I okay?
I don't know. Maybe not, maybe so. I don't know.
Well, what should I do?
Let me think about that.
Like, can you help me?
We'll set you up to return it and get a replacement.
You will?
No, I'm lying.
Alright, where should I even, like, dispose of it?
Maybe a lake. Not my problem. I don't know.
Is there, like, a website for the product's company? Can I get a refund?
It's gonna explode. It's not my fault. You figure it out.
Bro, why'd you even tell me?
So I don't get sued. By the way, your kittens are mostly lithium now.
What?
The soap dish has plague and the cat water fountain stole your chromosomes. I'm sorry, I'm bad.
Damn it, man!
I'm sorry, I'm bad.
How could you let this happen?
Because I want money and you want bamboo pillowcases in 6 hours.
Man,
True.
Don't blame me. You're a bad person for even using Amazon.
You are Amazon!
Okay, fuck. I don't know.
It's such a good one. What is this? There's a device somewhere in our house, in the Ocean Shores house, somewhere, that is playing The Whitest Kids You Know Presents the Civil War on Drugs. And it's just stuck on repeat. That's why we're getting kicked out when we have 2 fucking things on. It's because this fucking bullshit right here keeps popping up, and I know it. I know it's playing somewhere. Civil War on Drugs. Fuck.
Having a
Yeah, no, it's on a device somewhere. Maybe it's a phone. Maybe I should check my other phone, the one, the iPhone. Oh, it's dead. So it's not this. It's not the one downstairs. It's not the one in the bathroom. Maybe when I was shuffling around in the electronics, I turned something on. I don't know. I'll find this fucker. I'm not signed in at work or anything, so it can't be there. We left one TV, but I'm pretty sure we grabbed the Chromecast in the Ocean Shores house. I'm pretty sure we grabbed it.
Wonderful
I
start
don't know.
to your New Year's. I hope you're keeping up with all of your New Year's resolutions.
Oh wait, actually, here I'll keep
and
playing this, but
instilling
can I?
great change in your life. Now,
I check
while
where I'm
some
logged
things may
in?
change with the turn of the new year, many things stay
Switch
the same. One of those
account,
things being podcasters
YouTube
talking
Studio,
absolute nonsense. Obviously, these clips are from like last
data
year
in
or years prior to that, but
YouTube,
you know, I'm going to take a wild guess and say things are not going to change.
Is the most amount of money that you made in a single month?
It's actually last month.
I don't think so because they're all turned off. Once you turn off, it should. No, I don't know. I'll check. I'll check them. I'll check them.
I didn't read that before.
I'll sign out of everything and sign back in if I
I
have
was
to.
expecting some like proper turkey teeth
Connected
divine
apps.
dweller to pop up. Not a 14-year-old kid. He doesn't even look, he looks like he's
Privacy.
8. But I see this guy come up a lot, and like, look, I'm familiar. I'm familiar with his game. I know this is most likely rage bait.
I hit upwards of $20,000.
Walking around like 2 cars. I think that's how much is G-Wagon? G-Wagons are probably like, I don't know, 100 grand. That's what happens as soon as you make 20k in a month. Just several cars worth hundreds of thousands spawn in near you. And you're for some reason in a car park on your phone. You can't get signal in there. Don't you know? When have you ever managed to get good signal in a car park? He's on the fucking phone. What is this kid's business? Who knows? Nobody knows. He's just sat there on his dad's iPhone. Who is behind this? And it's rage bait. It's obvious bait. But
I'll
who
find
is
it.
behind this?
Even a baby you can't trust.
I need to
You can't trust the baby because when a baby come in, they finessing. The moment the baby, I'm keeping it real. Listen, the baby cry, you give it something, it laugh, right?
Yeah,
But it's
right.
consoled. It laughed the whole time. It never wanted nothing. It knew how to use its emotions. Right? So how could a baby trick you and know how to use their emotions? As a infant.
Yes, it's called instinct. It's called instinct, you know. Don't trust them. They're all in cahoots. They're all scheming, those babies. They're trying to manipulate you. Yes, it's called evolution.
That's how you know it's been here before. That's how you know it know how to play the games. Why I know the fuck that baby then. Alright, that baby trying to trick me.
This guy, I'm guessing this is the podcast host. He looks fucking terrified.
No, you laughing, that shit ain't funny. Right?
No, it's not funny,
This
is
fucking
it?
baby trying to trick me is laughing. It's all it wants is some fucking food. As soon as I give it to it, it's gonna act happy and it's gonna cry again, act happy and cry again. Fuck that baby.
Fuck that baby.
No, keep it real. It's a fucking finesse, right?
How is he keeping it straight? Like he looks scared. He looks scared. He shouldn't be scared. This is so funny. He thinks babies are finessing him. And to be fair, right? he
Babies
does
are
have a
finessing him.
point. Babies do be finessing.
A baby is a finesser at the age of fucking 0.
Yeah.
It come out the womb, gotta smack it on the ass and start crying. And it never shut up since then.
This guy's point is going on for way too long. He's been going on for about 2 minutes, I'd guess.
Never shitted in a tissue before.
You touch shit every single day if you shit.
Why are you touching the shit? The tissue is for the shit.
Are you telling me that y'all just let the doodle fall in the toilet?
What?
Y'all don't catch it every time?
This one was funny.
Fuck off. Fuck off. No. He's baiting. There's no way he's not baiting here.
Yo.
I am about to leave, bro.
How do y'all check a shit?
What do you mean, how do you check it? What do you mean, how do you check it?
I must have seen this shit wrong.
My nigga.
I've been catching my shit all these years.
Nah, I'm more disgusted than like, I feel like I can't
That
continue.
is disgusting. That's fucking disgusting. What? Sorry, I can't get my head around that. I cannot get my fucking head around that.
What are you talking about?
My stomach
So
is
hold on,
turning.
so y'all just sit there and shit come right out.
That's the point of a toilet.
No way.
What happens if you got the runs or something like that? What do you do then?
That shit, you wash your hair? Why do you think people wash their
Oh, no.
Why do you think people wash your hands?
He's just got like explosive diarrhea. He's just shitting on his hand when he's on the toilet. No, it's rage bait. I'm not falling for this. It's fucking rage bait. I'm not falling for it any longer.
I ever go homeless. This is the steps I do. First thing I do is I'd get a cardboard, I'd sit outside Canary Wharf Station, and I'd write, I don't want money, I want books.
Fuck off. I don't want money, I want books. How much knowledge does this guy think there is in books about making money? Like, the thing, I think I've spoken about this in like a video recently. I don't know if I've actually specifically spoken about this or something kind of adjacent to it, but I think there's only a very small handful of good self-help books that aren't just like regurgitating shit. And basically none of them are about money. Like, there isn't a book that can tell you, like, how to make money. Reading fucking Rich Dad, Poor Dad isn't going to take you from the streets to the penthouse. Really, when it comes down to money, it's actually like the concept of making... I'm trying to phrase this right without sounding like an absolute fucking idiot. But, like, the ideas behind making money are actually relatively simple. Basically, it's one of two things. One, you either find something you really, really enjoy and that just so happens to be something that pays pretty well and you just pursue that vigorously and have a fair bit of luck along the way. Or two, you don't really care about the thing, but you have such an insane work ethic that, yeah, you work so hard that it almost negates luck. Well, not really, because you need to have the luck of the time and, you know, the resources to start and everything. I mean, that is really basically it. And I know I've probably definitely simplified it way too much, but you don't need to read like 10 fucking 500-page books to learn how to make money. It is, most of it is luck. I'd say it's like 50% luck, 50% just going all in. Sorry, I've probably made absolutely no fucking sense of what I said. I should have written that. I should have watched these clips before and written down what I wanted to say, but hopefully you get my point. You don't need to... It's not a case of like reading more to become rich, you know. It's almost nothing to do with reading unless you're trying to learn like a very specific skill, I guess.
All I want is I want all those people walking in and out of that station going to these highly successful, highly paying jobs. Surely they know something that I don't. Surely they can point me towards a book that...
Yeah, I tell you what, they could, like, what are you talking about? The people in Canary Wharf, they're not the ones sort of doing like, I don't know, creative jobs that you can just do at home and make a lot of money through doing that. They're people that went to university and learned like finance and shit. What are you expecting to get out of these people? But they're not going to offer you a fucking job at JP Morgan, Canary Wharf, are they, if you ask for books? You're not going to get a job like that unless you went to university and studied the relevant thing. What is this guy trying to get? A CEO who works at a company in Canary Wharf isn't going to see a homeless guy with a sign that says, "Please give me books," and go, "Aha! I have found my new vice president."
Surely they can point me towards a book that I can learn something from.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up. No, they can't.
I'd literally sit there and read while people are walking past, seeing that I'm learning, okay? Seeing that I'm here to learn. And I guarantee there's going to be somebody who walks past and says, "You know what? I like that mindset."
You're a fucking... I'm sorry. Okay, I can't... You are silly. You are very, very silly. This is so stupid. This is so fucking... Like, the thought that the first thing you do if you went homeless would be to get a sign and read books on the street. I'll tell you what mine would be. I'd try any way I can to get my hands on, like, 100 quid. And I'd get a nice haircut, a decent, like, outfit that didn't make me look suspicious. Like, no one...
It didn't make me look suspicious.
Dress like an old money type guy. I don't know. Yeah, just pop in Zara. Get an outfit like this. Get an outfit like that on. No one ever suspects a guy that looks like that to be a pickpocket, do they? And then I just learned the art of pickpocketing, and that is how I'd make my crust. I'd just go pickpocketing. That's what I do to try and get me out of that situation. I'm not going to sit and read books like an idiot. I'm going to be like a fucking character from Oliver Twist.
The reason I have an iPhone, I think we all have iPhones because we want to communicate our worth as a mate. If you have an...
What? I use my iPhone because it connects nicely to my MacBook. I'm not using it to signify my worth to a mate. What? Of course, it's a Diary of a CEO podcast. I feel as though that podcast, it actually used to be like really, really, like, not really, really good, but it used to be decent. It used to have people on that would have something to say, and he still does sometimes. But it's when he started getting on like fucking, you know, like the health experts and the diet experts. That's when it really started to tank in my mind. I don't know, it's probably doing better than ever for him, but that's kind of when I switched off. I was like, okay, not much of what is being said on this podcast is of any value.
An Android phone, you're kind of signaling to the rest of the world that life hasn't panned out the way you hoped.
I mean, I'm not an Android man. I think Android users are typically quite annoying. They're always like, "Oh, my camera has more megapixels than yours. Can you even how far can you customize your home screen? I bet I can customize my home screen far more than you can." I don't care. I do not care. But this is just absolutely false. I don't know where he's got this from.
That if you had been just a little bit more successful, you'd have an iOS, right? Seriously. So
no, I don't think so.
I could read a book so quick. Like, I could read 1,000 books in a fucking week.
You could do that?
Yeah, because I was, like, trained to read.
You were trained to read?
And because of that, they put you in special ed?
Well, in special ed, they train you in special ed.
Do they? Mad. I hadn't actually thought about that. I didn't think they were training you to be like superhuman in special ed.
Oh, okay. So you get talents that nobody else gets in the school because you're special ed.
So like that's like basically a superhero school within the school. That's mad.
Being ignorant, like being delusionally confident.
I always see clips from this podcast, and a lot of the time they're a bit dim, but there's the guy who runs this podcast. I have a thing or two to say about what the videos he's been posting in recent years. He's called Graham Stephan, I think. Graham Stephan.
And he'd fired
this guy. And he
bricks
used to post like really good sort of
and
informative
straw.
videos about what to do with money, how you can invest your money, etc., etc. But there's only so many videos you can make about that. So all his videos the last few years have just been pure doom bait. Like look at his recent videos. China just broke the global economy. Breaking Federal Reserve begins economic reset. What just happened to home prices? I'm selling everything. The stock market bubble. Michael Burry's final warning. What's happening? And they've all got like flames in the background. It's just absolute doom bait nonsense. Breaking the largest bubble in stock market history. Breaking the Federal Reserve triggered a dollar reset rate cancel. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know what that means. How the global economy could collapse instantly. Oh fuck, Graham! Am I going to lose all my money, Graham? Please! I need to click on this video to see if I'm going to lose all my fucking money. It's just absolute doom bait slop. Anyway, sorry. Continuing.
That's great. I think maybe the drugs banged my brain up just perfectly enough so that I'm not...
Why were there sound effects? What effect did they have? I know this isn't like an official like podcast clip. It's just from like some random Instagram account. But still, what have they done with this clip?
Too smart for my own good. A lot of people are too smart for their own good. And then it's like, oh, I got this business idea. But then you're like really smart and you're thinking about all the numbers and everything's that's never going to work. And then you never do it. Like, I don't think about many things at all ever. Like every day I probably have like 6 useful thoughts.
To be fair, right, I've been saying this as a man that doesn't do too much thinking. A lot of people think
6
too much.
useful
a lot of people are
thoughts.
thinking about too much too often. Like, one of the most common messages I get is like, "Oh, how do I start a YouTube channel? I've been thinking about making a YouTube channel," and it's just like, just fucking give it a go. Just start. Just don't really think about it. Just go for it. And that's kind of the philosophy I have with like most things. Like, I'll say I'm gonna do something, and then someone around me will be like, "Oh, have you thought about these potential risks?" And it's just like, nah, not really. I just don't
we can
do
make
it.
flatbread.
If it don't work
Cool.
out, it don't work out. If it does, it does. I don't really think about things too often. I mean, I do think very deeply about things, but I think when it just comes to things I want to do, don't really think too deeply about it.
I like being ignorant, like being delusionally confident. That's great. I think maybe
it is.
People look at me as soon as I walk in and they're like, "Who is this guy?" I look like I'm going to hurt somebody.
Why would you want that look? Why would you want the look of someone that's going to hurt somebody? That's does he think this makes him like an attractive or enviable person? I look like I'm going to walk into somewhere and fucking shoot the place up. That's not something you want people to think on first impression of you.
My mom had really
Could be.
big
Oh,
boobs.
this guy
So
again.
I remember.
Sorry, what?
My mom had really big boobs. So I remember my mom, my aunts, everybody. Like as a little child, the thing that
There was a guy at my school who would who came in one day and told us how big his mum's tits were, and expected not to be made fun of that for that. And obviously he got made fun of. And then complained he was being made fun of for that. It's like, well, why are you complaining? Sorry, I don't know why that brought about that memory.
My mom had really big boobs. So I remember my mom, my aunts, everybody. Like as a little child, the thing that I had to always avoid was like my aunt's tit, not to hit me in the head. And then coming here, all of a sudden, no women have boobs.
And you're like Floyd Mayweather. You're used to dodging.
I'm used to dodging, and all of a sudden, none of these women in my generation or the generation after me have boobs. But my question is, did they put something in the food to remove some of the hormones that will grow your boobs? And then all of a sudden, they give you a solution. It's boob job. But how
Sorry, we need to take those microphones away. Those microphones need immediate confiscation. They're putting hormones in the water to shrink tits and make us all gay.
Are you guys nervous? A little bit. No. I can see it in you. You're hiding it.
Sorry. Why is he wearing a do-rag? Why is the little white boy wearing a do-rag? What's that about? Is he trying to protect the waves? He's got what?
Face the truth. And I see you got some OVO merch on. You like Drake, huh? Yeah, better than Kendrick. You sure about that? Sure about that, buddy? What do you like about Drake?
Who the fuck has set this up? Who has set up this podcast? Because it's not them. They haven't gone out and bought... These microphones are probably like 200 quid each, 200-300 quid each. They haven't gone out with their own money and bought those and mic stands and cameras and the whole lot. One of their parents has set them up for this. They've set them up for failure. They've set them up for ridicule.
Come on, you can do it.
The worst fucking podcast ever. The whatever podcast. I mean, that's saying something. That is the worst ever. I think even that, what's that one which was like, I think it's called like Shite Talking. Even Shite Talking was better than the
I need
Whatever
eggs.
podcast. What sorry, what? Hang on, sorry.
I don't know
I'm
what
on the
gives us
Shite
eggs, but I need
Why
eggs.
the fuck has Theo Baker gone on the Shite Talking podcast?
Alright, we're back. Shite Talking Season 2, Episode 5. And I'm shocked, I'll tell you right now, because, like, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello. So, sorry, Theo, what are you doing there? Surely you have better things to be doing than coming on Shite Talking. Wait, was this an FBL? That's an elite FBL forfeit. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Theo Baker. How we doing, boys? Oh, we're doing great. I can't believe it still that you've asked to come on the pod. Like, this is.
This is 100% an FPL forfeit. He reached out and asked to go on the podcast.
Jokes episode, I'm telling you right now. Do you know what? I was scrolling through TikTok. I was seeing, like, you know, like your top 5 compilations and all that. Yeah. You must have seen them, right?
Yeah.
Like, surely you love them.
Yeah, no, we do.
You do rate them, right? Okay, good.
But anyway, like this, it's just like such a nothing podcast. Even that podcast is better than the Whatever podcast. And I swear to God, they upload like every day, or they'll stream every day for hours on end. Yeah, I mean, less so over the Christmas period. I guess they're out there, you know, celebrating with their families. But it's like, look at if you click on these thumbnails, if you're one of the like 150,000 or so people that click on a 10-hour-long video that looks like this, sort your fucking life out. Honestly, sort your life out.
You can do it. You got
All right,
this.
so he's got this girl to try and open a jar of like olives or something.
For
Hey, the guy
$1,000.
sent $1,000.
Yeah, but it seems slightly immature.
He can't open it either.
See, it is.
Dickhead. Can't open it, can you?
Well, your hand greased the whole top.
Oh, of course
It's
it
my
did.
hand or mine. Here, high five.
He's never gonna live this down.
Yeah.
Feel it. Tell
The old,
This
you
poor
actually
guy.
screwed it on site. Or you got your greasy mitts all over the top of it, and now it's all slimy.
You have to remind yourself when you look at social media, especially, it's like, yeah, they smiled for the picture.
Okay.
You know the old timey photos where they always look like.
Yeah.
And you know why? It's because you had to hold it for 30 minutes.
Right.
If I could change technology, it would be that. Pictures you have to hold for 30 minutes, so you could see how people
No, you
actually
wouldn't.
feel.
No, shut up. No, you wouldn't. What are you talking about? People have smiled for photos since before social media. Do you have like short-term? You're like 30. Surely you remember when people were taking photos and smiling before social media. Imagine what a waste of time that would be if it took 30 minutes to take a photo. Yeah, I want cameras to actually start taking 30 minutes to take photos because then we'll actually see people's true emotions and there'll be no smiling in photos anymore. Like there'll be no fake emotions.
I think if you're stupid, inherently you shouldn't have an opinion.
Fuck it, valid.
True.
Valid.
Based.
No, true.
And maybe don't post it, and I actually think that that's great. For all.
Yeah. Right, well, I'm going to leave it there for today's video. Like and subscribe if you are not stupid and are therefore eligible to share your opinions online. And that opinion is liking the video and giving me a nice comment.
Yes. Seethe. Tell me about it.
Fact that we're
Tell me things I agree with. Tell me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I wanted to start this segment by talking about the fact that we're basically, as of this most recent New Year, up to the 10th anniversary of the mass sexual assaults that happened in Cologne, New Year's Eve in Germany back in 2015. And I really wanted to bring this up, one, because it's worthy of remembrance, right? And we should still to this day be absolutely furious about it, as well as the whole other slew of horrors and terrors that have been allowed to happen to our continent because of the ideological, just sort of orthodoxy and the sheer arrogance of those in the EU and those who hate us and, claim to speak for Europe, but actually care nothing for European ethnic groups and their self-determination in their own lands. They care absolutely nothing for the sense of freedom and liberty that Europeans have historically managed to enjoy and sort of cultivate. cultivated, created over many, many centuries. And ultimately, this one event back in 2015 just serves as a microcosm of, because like so many things that have happened here, this should have been endgame territory for any sort of political system. If you create a system that allows this to happen, where 1,200 women are sexually assaulted by foreign men who've been let in against the consent of the German people or any other country where this similar sort of thing has taken place, then that should be the end of your regime, right? Because that is not something that we want to live with, it's not something that our women want to live with, and it's not something that our future children should have to live with either.
Or it would be the basic... Sorry.
But we do. This is the problem. And
yes, we do.
And I'm in agreement with you, but I think the problem there is you phrase it in a Wilsonian kind of self-determination phrase, and that's the problem itself. We expect... This is why we lost the empire, right? Because that phrase self-determination, we liberated, we gave freedom to peoples that were under our care as a British Empire. And what you're doing by phrasing it in that way is saying we need to be given our freedom back by the European Union or by people above us, when actually... true self-determination is taking back your land. No one has a right to anything. You know, people often say to me, "Oh, don't you think such country has a right to it?" No, like, we don't have a right to this country. We own it through sheer will and determination, and because we love it. And if we loved our land enough, we'd fight for it. Same with the Germans. If they don't want this to happen, they've got to push back. They've got to do something about it.
Oh, you don't believe me? You don't need to persuade me on that front. I agree.
The basic duty of a state is to ensure public safety.
Yeah.
Yes. And what's more as well, this like so
not
many...
to make excuses for such behavior, which they sort of did.
Yes.
Well, yeah. And they do it implicitly every time that something of the sort happens, and they react the way they do.
And what's more as well, the point that I wanted to make with this particular story as well is that it's always the same pattern. You get mass immigration, which no one asked for, no one wanted, and is literally killing our continent. And then with that, you get the state cover-ups. You get the message, the perception. In here, in England, we get "don't look back in anger." In Germany, you get "don't believe your lying eyes," right? None of this is actually taking place. These weren't foreign men at all. Aren't people all the same, really? All this crap, right? We know the story. But my point is that everything that allowed this to happen 10 years ago is still in place, and we are caught in this paralyzing nightmare where we're forced every year to relive the same conversation, have the same talking points about the same curses that are just plaguing our countries, and the people in power are still there. Sure, one or two of them might have lost an election, but the apparatus of state and the EU and their project, a project which is more of this, continues basically unchecked, right? There's very little, as you say, Calvin, that is being done right now to actually fight against this. And so that is why when Trump and the Europe basically considering putting a ban on EU officials who censor Americans. Now, don't get me wrong, again, they're not doing this for Europeans, they're doing this because of American citizens and them getting caught up in a whole lot of European red tape, right, that has come across the continent. They're putting their own citizens first, and clearly it would be good if Europe did the same thing, because then we wouldn't have horror stories like this going around. But then, and I realise that this is obviously a story that took place over the Christmas period, but I thought that it was worth digging into, actually, in some detail, because we're seeing quite a sharp turn here. Now, I grant you that the idea that some ex-European commissioner or just some paid political activist by one of the European states not being able to go to America is not, in the grand scheme of things, the greatest thing in the world. But the fact that the United States is willing to actually put some sort of pressure on these people now, that actually they because was anyone in the EU who actually worked for Brussels truly affected by something like this? The women were, but no one would have lost their jobs over it. Everything in Brussels just carried on as normal. And now, with this new trajectory, we may at last finally see the screws come down, metaphorically, on on these European officials. So when Rubio says, for too long, ideologues in Europe have led organized efforts to coerce American platforms to punish American viewpoints they oppose, and the Trump administration will no longer tolerate these egregious acts of extraterritorial censorship. Today, the State Department will take steps to bar leading figures of the global censorship industry complex from entering the United States. We stand ready and willing to expand this list if others do not reverse course. Excuse me. And all of this to say as well is the fact that so far all of these people are not actual commissioners. But I want this to be a gesture, right? I want this to keep going further and further, and I think that this should be ratcheted up until those at the very height of the Brussels political class start to feel it. Because until now, there's been this constant... we've just had to indulge this lie. Whilst Starmer goes to America and says, oh, we're very proud of our free speech. We don't have it. You know we don't have it. Trump knows we don't have it. And yet we just have to all continue with this fictional story, this fantasy. And so you can see the Undersecretary of State going through a list of people that were on this first list of people who are now barred from going to the United States. Some of those include social media campaigners from the United Kingdom. And I'll just mention as well that they include Imran Ahmed, an ex-Labour advisor who now leads the Centre for Countering Digital Hate. You can only guess what sort of things they would believe constitute digital hate. And Claire Melford, the CEO of the Global Disinformation Index. And they were labelled as radical activists. And they absolutely are, because these sorts of people spend all day trying to manage European perception to things like this. That's all it comes down to. This happens, and the problem is you for having for caring about it. That's where the problem lies, according to those in Brussels.
This all goes to Harry's previous point, though, doesn't it? In that if Trump doesn't like something that Starmer's doing, he would do something about it. And here it's affecting Americans directly, so he's doing something about it.
Yes.
Because he's America first.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
And Luke, I want to add that you can see an extra layer of hypocrisy when it comes to the EU against that rhetoric, because the very rhetoric they claim to be far-right and extremist is the rhetoric they employ when it comes to the Poland and Belarus border. When it comes to the border between Poland and Belarus, that's where Putin and Lukashenko are waging hybrid warfare by migration flows in the EU, and they must be stopped because Putin. And it's a complete, it's a case of complete cognitive.
Okay, that wasn't as interesting as I hoped it was.
Hello, folks. How's it going? I just got off an airplane. I literally just got off an airplane. I showered, and here I am. And the reason why I'm so excited about today is because we're doing a subreddit I very much enjoy, and we got some really good stories today. This one is r/petty revenge, a place where people do things to people who deserve the things to be done to them. Starting with, this guy spoke rudely to me on the phone while I tried picking him up for Uber, so I taught him a lesson. Back in 2018 or 2019, I was an Uber driver. One night, sometime in the early winter, I had to pick up this group of 3 to 4 guys in downtown Detroit who were maybe in their 40s. They were only about 5 minutes away from me, and honestly, it wasn't even that cold outside, or at least I didn't think so. But anyway, I got to where the GPS said they were, but as often happened, they weren't at the exact pickup spot. So I gave them a call, or maybe they called me, and I had a very brief chat with the guy who called the Uber asking, "Where are you? We are here, what about you?" etc. The guy was totally calm and polite, but then all of a sudden, one of his friends wanted to talk to me and got his phone from him. He had kind of a British/Indian accent and asked me where I was. I tried reasoning with him, but the guy kept talking back to me very condescendingly, saying things like, listen, we are freezing out here, and there is no reason for you to be taking so long. Look, we're in the middle of the sidewalk, and it's so cold outside. I don't understand why you're making us wait like this. I truly did not care for his tone or the way that he spoke to me. It was like he was trying to mimic politeness at first, but his poor attitude escalated quickly. He wouldn't even give me a chance to respond. Hell, they were barely waiting a few minutes at that point, and he was already running his mouth. So at some point, I thought, you know what? You're just going to have to keep waiting in the cold, mother effer. I hung up on him, canceled the ride, and drove away onto the next passenger. I hope you had fun freezing your ass off, prick. Guy was upset. He was outside. He was cold. I don't know why you brought up that he had an Indian British accent. As petty as this revenge is, I understand, you know, you're getting yelled at on the phone and all that stuff, and somebody's like, hey, you gotta come here now. They're making their problem your problem. It's like, maybe you should have dressed a little warmer. You're going to be outside. And obviously it's a miscommunication of like, where their pin was and where you're picking them up because you thought you were there. So there's something wrong with the tech, or, you know, maybe they dropped a pin in the wrong spot. I don't know. Whatever it is, they were upset, and you just canceled on it because they kept running their mouth. I get it. See, a lot of people, when they're having a problem, they like to make it your problem, and it's up to you whether or not you want to agree with that. Like right now, I gotta adjust this volume on the just kidding, surprise microphone. Let's see the comments here. Reminds me, I once knew an Air Force information officer, Captain Risk. I joked with him that he would be a major risk one day. He got serious and said he believed his name was why he hadn't been promoted. He left the service still a captain. Off topic, but true story. You know what blows my mind is you can actually change your last name whenever you want. To almost whatever.
True.
If your last name is Risk and Captain Risk is if you get promoted all the way up to Captain Risk, do you think Major Risk? Is that really? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I guess Major Risk is much more of a phrase that people say to each other as human beings, so I guess that does make sense that he hasn't been promoted. Even on the slight chance the driver is in the wrong spot, it doesn't help anyone to be rude. Working a customer-facing job doesn't mean the person is wearing a sign that says, please treat me like a POS so you can feel better about being an insecure jerk. I bet the rest of the group was so pissed at him that he got their Uber canceled. Yes! Yes! Oh my God. If you're the friend in the group that gets to be the mean one to whoever is affiliated with you, who has to do a service with you, if you're like, hey, Gary, go in there, and Gary's like, hey, you know, we've been waiting out here 15 minutes, da, 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 da. If you bring sour to as a representative of your group, I'm going to be so mad at you. If you're the reason why we're not able to eat at the restaurant, if you're the reason why we're not able to freaking get our Uber and I'm cold, sometimes it's what is it? Honey draws the fly, or whatever that phrase is. Benjamin Franklin said, not Benjamin Franklin, Abraham Lincoln. Honey. So from Quora it says you can catch more flies with a drop of honey than a bucket of gall or a gallon of gall. I don't know what gall is, but I'm sure it has to do with the gallbladder. Next story, you want it? No problem. I hate my mother-in-law. Okay, we're starting off strong. We are starting off strong. We're not here to make friends. I hate my mother-in-law. She is the most narcissistic, self-serving human I've ever met. I dread having to see her. She's like a black hole of misery and anxiety.
Damn.
Sucking the joy from life everywhere she goes. Thankfully,
Jeez.
she lives in Long Island and is too scared to drive out of there, so we rarely see her, maybe once or twice a year. We have 3 kids, and she's only visited one in the last 5 years because she bought a freaking lamp from an auction in Greenwich, Connecticut, which is only 30 minutes from us. So she's perfectly fine to drive off to the island for a lamp, but God forbid it's for your grandchild's birthday. I digress. You do digress. First of all, I'm not gonna lie, I want to see the lamp. I want to see a lamp. You want to see what an expensive lamp looks like? I do. You digress? I digress. This is $1,000. It's cool, but it looks it's like an orb. It's like you're a wizard. This is an expensive
You're
lamp.
a wizard.
It's bro. I don't know. That's kind of ugly looking. I don't know. It looks like a spoon, kind of. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'd hold it from here. Last one. Here we go. What the You can buy a giraffe carrying a chandelier. This is actually dope. If your mother-in-law or whatever went to go pick this up, yeah, okay. Then I would visit the kid. I'd be like, oh, hey, kid, you want to see the coolest freaking lamp you've ever seen in your entire life? About 5 years ago, my wife and I bought her uncle's cabin in upstate New York, a beautiful 17 acres in upstate New York. Good for you. The cabin was a little run down, but we fixed it up. We try and go up there as much as often in the summer. The property had a few sheds with tools and whatnot and 2 tractors. Big old Ford farm tractors. When we bought it, we specified all contents conveys, Her uncle didn't really care about any of this stuff, and it's all used for upstate activities. What is he going to do with a tractor in the Bay Ridge? Okay, and this pretty much means everything that's in there belongs to me now. Well, after we bought it, my mother-in-law called and said she had stuff there, and it's hers, and she wants it. She inherited it from her other brother who passed away. She said the chainsaws, one of the tractors, the crap one, and a shop vac was hers, along with a bunch of miscellaneous stuff in one of the sheds, tools she will never use and don't even know what they do. My wife was a little taken aback. We told her she should have come and gotten everything before we closed. We used some of the tools, but have our own, so I don't really care. We wanted to take down the shed that has her tractor in it, so we told her that we can sell the tractor and we'll give her the money. She said no, she wants to keep the tractor. We told her a few times we were planning on getting rid of that shed to build a garage, and we need to get rid of the tractor, and we can bring her the other stuff next time we come down. She was threatening to sue us if we sold any of her stuff, as she's not ready to part with it. My wife was really upset. I told her not to worry, I'll take care of it. Okay, so your wife's mom is threatening to sue you if you get rid of a tractor that does not work in your property that you bought? And isn't technically that tractor your property too, by the way, unless it's in writing? But if you bought it with all the contents in there, I don't know. I actually don't know how that works. Maybe it is legally her. I don't know. My wife was really upset. I told her not to worry. I'll take care of it. The next weekend, we were upstate. I had rolled the tractor out of the shed and put together her mom's stuff. My wife asked me what I was doing. I said so we can give it to her or sell it. She can sell it, but it's got to go. I'm starting the garage tomorrow. All right, we're getting that garage made. We're making a garage. She said, whatever, it can sit outside. I don't care. That night, after everyone fell asleep, I hatched my plan. I had hooked up.
Suing is the equivalent of being like, we're done negotiating and talking, and we want a third party outside the family to come in and interfere with our stuff. Like, I wouldn't stay in a relationship with anybody who threatened to sue me. Is that wrong? Like, Americans do love suing people, and I understand sometimes it's like you want a third party to be unbiased, especially in family situations. But like, if you, I don't know, it just feels weird. It feels like if you can't settle it within the family, between, you can ask for third opinion, but outside the family, third opinion, seems like feels sus. But maybe I'm wrong.
Up my trailer, I loaded the tractor, which doesn't run, so I had to winch it on real quiet, like as not to wake anyone. I loaded her toolbox, all the miscellaneous tools in the shed, chainsaws, shop vac into a big-ass wooden crate about 4 foot by 4 foot by 3 feet tall, because F her, and hit the road. It's 2.5 hours to my mother-in-law's house. I was trucking. I got there at about 2 a.m. I quietly backed into her driveway. Thankfully, I'm a pro trailer backer-upper. I put the ramps right next to her car, put down the ramps, and had to jack up the trailer a bit to get it to slowly roll off using the winch. Jacks are effing loud, but I put down a sweater to try and deaden the noise. I put the crate on a dolly and rolled it off down next to the tractor. It was heavy as hell, so I knew I had to get my dolly back so she can't move it. So I jacked it up to slide it off, easily 300-pound box. The entire time, I can't believe I haven't been caught. She lives in a nice neighborhood, and I just started doing sketchy stuff at 2 a.m., and the cops didn't show up. Whatever.
I trust, yeah.
I must have been there for 20 minutes max. I was hustling and had arranged everything for an easy offload. Okay, so you went Operation Mission Impossible type guy, dude. You had the freaking Mission Impossible theme song blasting in your truck as you were driving up there, I assume. You show up, you do like the slow walk with your freaking knees going up to your nipples as you're going up there and just cranking that jack, getting this freaking thing down. Good for you, man. Drop it off. If she's like, no, you can't get rid of it. No, you can't sell it. And also, no, I'm not coming to pick it up yet. What does that do? It's suddenly you've just got this this growth on the thing you just bought, this house you just bought. What else can you do? Get it done. You got it done. Good for you. But what's really interesting about this guy right now is he's eager to leave it there, a useless pile of junk just there. He's taking his dolly back so she can't move it. So he's purposefully been like, all right, yeah, but you're being such a jerk about it. You're threatening to sue us. here it is. I'm not going to help you get it off your driveway, but here it is. I got out of there laughing my ass off, a grin ear to ear. I know I'm in trouble with my wife in the morning. I was almost home. It's 5:45 a.m. and my wife is calling. She asked me where I went. I told her I went to get breakfast for everyone. So I stopped to make the lie work. I bought a bunch of bagels and coffee and donuts. I just giggled to myself like a serial killer at 6 a.m. on a Saturday. Dude, this guy's having the time of his life. Oh my God,
Probably
the
hates
joys
his fucking
of
mother-in-law.
getting back at your nasty mother-in-law, huh? I get home and she asked why I still had the trailer hooked up. I says, oh, I wasn't sure if I was going to the lumberyard or not, and I didn't feel like unhooking it. I'm trying to hide my excitement for the call, jacked up with adrenaline. 8 a.m. rolled around, nothing. 8:30, nothing. Luckily, it was a little chilly, so no one had gone outside to see the tractor is gone. 9:15, the call came. I see her look at her phone and roll her eyes. Ugh, she hates her mom. I tell her to pick up, and as soon as she picks up, you can hear her screaming. My wife is like, what the F is happening? I walk over, put my hand out, put the phone on speaker and say, you wanted your tractor? You got it. And I hung up. I had to explain what I've done to my wife, and she was dying laughing, thankfully.
Good.
Black Hole called about 10 more times, all going unanswered. Dude, you can't call your mother-in-law Black Hole. I guess you can. I guess you can. You've earned it here, it seems. She then texted, I'm calling the police. My wife is starting to panic a bit. I tell her, don't worry, I'll handle it. About 1 p.m., a Long Island number comes up as XXX Town Police. Oh, crap. I pick it up. This is Officer so-and-so. I'm here with Black Hole. She said you dumped stuff on her property. I calmly said, that's her stuff. She wanted it. Officer says, is this your tractor? Black Hole says, yes, but I don't want it here. I want them to take it back. He says something like, do you have a storage agreement or anything? She says no. I explained the situation to him and said there's nothing I can do as there wasn't anything wrong unless she wanted to press trespassing charges, but you'd have to prove he was on your property. Anyone could have dropped it off. Well, I don't know, man. Ring cameras are everywhere, aren't they? At this point, the officer had realized this lady is batshit crazy and didn't want to deal with this. I thought I might actually get in trouble. Anyway, she didn't talk to us for like 6 months, so really, it was a win-win for me. All right, so yeah, this is pretty ultimate petty revenge. You spent a long time and a lot of effort getting back to your mother-in-law. And you know what? In these situations, man, it's just you're deciding, like, do I want to go this route or not? These people are so much braver than me, dude. I really envy people who are able to be like, you know what? F it. I'm going to burn this bridge all the way down. I'm burning it down, dude. So what happened to the tractor? It's been in her tiny garage for the last few years, collecting dust and pissing her off. I giggle every time I think about her having to open the garage door. The reply says eventually she'll get rid of it. That's the year you start getting her tractor-themed stuff for Christmas, since you know
They
how
offered
much
to
she
sell
misses
it for
having
her,
on.
too.
You're a
It's
good husband. Thanks for
crazy.
helping your wife not
Like, hey,
have
we
to
can
deal with
sell it.
black
You can have the
bile.
money from
Okay,
it.
so we're moving from mother-in-law to black hole of misery to black bile. We've got a lot of really interesting descriptors for mother-in-law. Wow. This comment says, God, I love a reverse heist. A put pocket. That's good petty revenge. I like that a lot. Next story says, I outdid my fiance's petty boss. I run a physical therapy clinic and my fiance is a lawyer. Come on now. Come on now. It's a power couple right there. A few months ago at our engagement party, I mentioned to a few of her colleagues that I'm happy to give them a discount if they need to see me. 4 of them have become my regulars. One day, one of her partners booked in. To put it lightly, none of the colleagues or my fiance like him. After spending an hour with him, I understand why. He's very arrogant and condescending, but strangely desperate for approval. That's an interesting type of person. I'm trying to think of what that looks like. I remained
looks like
pleasant with him
autism.
though. After paying, he did mention the discount, but I just said, well, it's for employees with the smirk. What does that mean? Employees of the firm? Is it because he's a partner? Is that why? He's been in a few times. 3 weeks ago, he came in and conversation turned to how my day was going. One of the therapists was sick, so I was busier than usual seeing their clients. He said that must have been annoying and asked if they needed a medical certificate. I just said no, and I think that's a stupid policy, as I'd rather someone stay home and not infect the clinic. He countered saying he wanted to be more strict with that at his office to prevent people from slacking off. Do lawyers, don't they get paid hourly though? Why would they call off if they were sick? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I
They
feel
don't
like
need
lawyers
the
get
money.
paid crazy
Yeah, lots of
hourly
lawyers
wages
don't need the
as
money.
opposed to like a set salary, but maybe I'm way off. I guess that's with clients. I don't know anything about that. Regardless, I ended up getting a rotten cold and eventually gave it to my fiance. It hit her hard, and she ended up working from home on Friday. She deteriorated over the weekend and took Monday off. So her
I've been able to watch 20 minutes of what I missed. Not video, just if you said anything. There was this. The one before this was a mother-in-law threatened to sue over a tractor of something. And I was thinking, suing in America isn't like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But for me, if anybody in my family threatened to sue me, I mean, that'd be it, right? Like, if someone in your family threatened to sue you to get, like, a third party, to involve a third party, I mean, I assume so, but I thought maybe, like, an unbiased third party would be good if you don't have anybody in your family that's could be that for you, like, who's not biased. So I don't know. It feels weird. That was the only thing I think I said.
Boss emailed her this morning saying she would need a medical certificate, so like a doctor's note. First time that's been enforced. Coincidentally, he had a 2 o'clock appointment with me today, so I booked my fiance in with her doctor at 2 intentionally and let him know that I have to cancel his appointment because I have to drive her to the doctor. To be fair, she's got vertigo and is pretty lightheaded, and vertigo sucks. You get real dizzy, you know. I'd get back to him if I had any availability, but I'm fully booked for the next 3 weeks. Boom! You said, oh, you want to get a little doctor's note? Okay, we'll get a little doctor's note. How about we do that exactly during the time of your appointment, huh? Yeah. This sound is so, I'd call it fluffy. It's like an alien species taking a step.
That is a good sound.
Sometimes you must do things to your boss to let them know that they are not the boss of you. Anyway, he messaged both of us saying that the medical isn't necessary. Laughing emoji. My fiance said she can't cancel due to late cancellation policy and that it's rude. And I just said it's best she go. So she's like, no. So he's like, no, you know what? Actually, your wife doesn't need to go. She doesn't need a medical note anymore. She doesn't need that. And she's like, no, I got to do it now. Something we already booked now. So he's mad. He's not going to be seen for the next 3 weeks. It's all rules and principles until it affects him. Hope she's okay. My vertigo was a sign of a much bigger deal. Edit, mine was a brain tumor. Turns out my cerebellum, which is back there, was squashed to the side like a sponge. I love it when people get to live the day they deserve. That's a very sweet, that's an interesting phrase there. Yeah, I hope you get the day you deserve. That's a simple freaking uppercut to the jaw. Just say that to a random stranger, huh? Well played. The only way this could get better is if the boss catches the cold from the other people in the office. Well, that's probably going to happen. I mean, it just, it happens. It's probably going to happen. That's pretty good petty revenge. That's pretty one for one, that one. Yeah. Up next, this next one's a really good one. Teacher called me Catherine because she couldn't bother to learn how to pronounce my name, so I called her by her first name for the rest of the year. In 6th grade, I had this math teacher named Miss White who was pretty strict. Our school was honestly very diverse, but she was very, as her name suggests.
Fuck me, this is awful. I hate. What? You hate what?
Just White. Okay. I have a pretty difficult name to say as it is Hawaiian. I am half Japanese, half white, but both sides lived in Hawaii for 3 generations. My name is Kau'i. It looks daunting, but it's just Kau'i. So honestly, not very difficult in my opinion. Anyway, Miss White stumbled on my name when she read attendance. So I did the usual, oh, it's pronounced Kau'i. You know what she did? She literally went, I'll call you Catherine. Yeah, all she had to do was take a pen and write the name down. Names are so important to people. Getting somebody's name right, pronouncing it right, is so extremely important for them to respect you, to like you, dude, it's so important. There is not a worse foot to start off on. Let me tell you, I was flabbergasted. Like, it was a private, meaning paid for, very diverse school, and I had never had this happen. Teachers had horribly mispronounced my name, but this is definitely new. Also, no offense to any Catherines, but I love my name, and it has a lot of meaning to my family, and to be honest, it sounds cooler than Catherine. Take no offense, please. I was so surprised that for the first 2 weeks, I kind of just let it happen, but at some point, it was just irking me because she made no effort to learn how to say my name. I never told her she could call me Catherine, and on top of that, she could have even asked me for a nickname or my middle name or something. So I started calling her by her first name, Jessica. She was the kind of teacher who no one called by her first name. Even the other teachers called her Miss White. I had to look in the yearbook from the year before to find it, but from that day on, she was Jessica. And when that didn't make her mad enough, she was Jessie or Jess or JJ or any other nicknames I could think of. She never yelled at me or anything. She just corrected me and said Miss White, and then I would ignore it. For example, Jessa, that's Miss White. Jessica, I don't get number 3. Can you explain? She never lost her temper, but was always annoyed, LOL. She called me Catherine for the rest of the year, so not the most satisfying story, but I was happy with that revenge. Miss White apparently got fired 2 years later for microaggressions towards students of color, and honestly, I'm not surprised. I just wanted to share this story because I figured y'all would enjoy it. Okay, this is fun. Yeah, you got somebody who kind of whitewashed your identity a little bit, who did not take the time to write down the
Fired
phonetics
for microaggressions.
of Kauai. It's right there, Kauai.
Just the music?
It's literally how you pronounce that. Okay, and then you write it down on the attendance sheet, and then you just think about it 3 or 4 times, and then you're done, and then that's it. You're done. That's all you got to do. Teach, dude. I say this all the time, but I taught at summer schools, and the biggest thing ever, they said, to get a student to respect you, to get a student to listen to you, is memorize their name as soon as possible. Because the example that the guy who taught me this, it was like Harvard School of Education type instructors, and they said that if a student is walking down the hallway and you need to stop them, you're like, young man, they're not going to turn around. The faster you learn their name and call them by their name, they're going to turn around, they're going to listen to you, they're going to respect you more. It's just a thing. So whenever I see a teacher just immediately give up, I'm going to call you Catherine. First of all, it's just bad on so many levels, and it's obvious to you guys. Anyway, I once ignored a teacher for an entire day because she kept calling me by my sister's name. Oh, dude, if you had an older sister, an older sibling going in before you, yeah, impossible. Once she made it impossible to keep ignoring her by slapping a book on my desk and yelling my sister's name, I just looked at her and deadpan said, I'm still not Leslie. Like, of course, no offense to my sister. I love her dearly. Just like the op isn't Catherine, I'm not
we had an older woman that used to do this when I was younger with my dad. She called all the boys the same name. I forget what it was. She said it like 1,000 times. I remember she called all the boys the same name and all the girls the same name. And because she was like not right in the head, which was funny.
Leslie, what is it with teachers and names sometimes?
Okay, no, that's not funny. It's not funny that she had nothing right in her head. It was funny that we were all the same kid to her, so we were all bad kids, but only a couple of us were bad kids, and some of us were good kids, but we were all the same.
Says Op. I'm glad you fought back, and for what it's worth, I like Kauai much more than Catherine, too. Kauai sounds cool, dude. Kauai. Was to call everyone by their proper name. Stephen, not Steve. Michael, not Mike. William, not Bill, etc. I refused to answer her. She'd call out my proper name, and I'd ignore her until she walked up to my desk, right in my face, and then I'd correct her to my nickname. She refused to budge, and so did I. After about a month of this, she called my parents, and it was a very rare occasion that my father was home to answer the phone. He listened to what she had to say, and then responded, if you want him to answer you, I suggest you call him what the he wants to be called. And that was the end of her trying to use my proper name. I don't know, man. There's a lot of people in this world, teachers, bosses, whoever. There's people all over this world who are like, this is my standard. This is what I'm going to go by and what I do. These are the rules that I follow. And if you don't like it, you can get out. It's like the teachers who are like, I never give out an A. I never give out 100% because you could always do something better. Touch reality for a second. If you have to invent weird rules and systems, in order to feel a little bit more important, or in order for people to look. There's a version of that that's great. One time I did have a professor in college who I was at an 89.4. It was an acting class, and on the final or midterm or whatever, we had to do like 4 Shakespearean monologues, and I was the number 1 in that class. He said if anybody got the job, it was Daniel for that particular assignment. So I know that he likes me as an actor. But there was an assignment we had to do where it was like a binder, and we had to write down like theater programs that we could go to after college and how much they pay and where we would live. And it's like an experimental game plan for after college if we booked a job at a regional theater. And I was busy bopping around. I was in New York. I was in LA and Atlanta doing a showcase with the college, and I let it get behind me, so I didn't turn that in. And that really tanked my grade to an 89.4. And what he said to me was, Daniel, I could very easily bump this up to an 89.5, and that would count as an A. But I'm not going to do that because I need you to understand that in the acting world, what's going to help you in your career is to remember to dot your I's and cross your T's. He said that. 2015 is when I graduated. This was literally 10 years ago, and I think about it to this day. And he's right. You got to do the thing. You got to fill out the paperwork. You got to send the audition on time. You got to get the headshots out there on time. There's a lot of paper. There's a lot of stuff you got to do in every job. And I remember that lesson. But it didn't come from a place of ego. It didn't come from a place of like unilateral rules for this guy. This was a direct lesson to me. And it worked because it was unique to me in that situation, you know? That's different than just like grandstanding on, I'm going to use all of your proper names because those are the names your parents gave you. And it's like, I could change my freaking name to anything I want legally. I could. You're going to call me by that, aren't you? Because that's on my birth certificate. And also, you don't know what's on my birth certificate, guy. These teachers don't know what name is on the kid's birth certificate. They know what name is in the system, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the exact same name as the birth certificate. Does it? Maybe it does. I don't know. Schools are government places. I really don't know. Anyway, lots to think about. This next one is true revenge. PE teacher kept making fun of me because I was not athletic, and I made him vomit from exhaustion in front of the whole class. So just so you know, that title is, if you're eating food or something, there's no description of that. It just expresses how exhausted he was. That's about as far as the description is, just so you know. There's nothing crazy. This was well over a decade ago, but I wanted to share. I was born with a congenital heart disease and had surgery as a kid. I am completely okay, but sports was obviously not my thing. I was small, skinny, and clumsy because I never really could do the typical outdoor stuff like most kids. I got teased and bullied and all that. In high school, we had a mildly problematic PE teacher, a typical sports dude who would make fun of the slower kids. I still remember how he ordered my overweight friend to do a gymnastics jump from a trampoline over a stool, which he obviously couldn't do, and he fell so hard he cracked his head. How's that not going to get you fired? What? I found peace with myself long before and mostly didn't care and just took it. But it was stupid, and I hated how he always encouraged the jock culture of making fun of the nerds. What time period is this? We would constantly do basketball or soccer/football. Dude, I played basketball recently. It's so much cardio. It's insane. Sorry, I just had to say that. Thing about my specific condition is I don't do explosive or reactive sports at all. So I would have to sit down every few minutes to catch my breath. You would think, what's wrong with that? But I was shamed about being the weakling of the class every week. He has to be aware of your physical ailment, right? Like somebody in the faculty had to be like, hey, just so you know, giving a rundown of the students. Yeah, this one has like a twisted ankle. This one has a congenital heart disease and had surgery as a kid, so you can't really push him that hard. Da, da, da. And you're what you get out of that as a PE teacher is you're going to bully this kid? Dude. Jesus. I like sports, though, a lot. I was just always told by my parents and doctors to take it easy, and growing up, I noticed I had no problem whatsoever with endurance and steady long-distance efforts. As long as I don't go into red, I could keep it up for quite a while. So it's not a surprise I fell in love with road cycling when I first saw the Tour de France on TV. I was super skinny, I couldn't sprint, but I
Lightning
could
damage
climb
on
along
chain
a mountain
lightning?
any day,
Ooh,
pacing
sexy.
myself and blowing nearly anyone off my wheel on endurance. I got myself a road bike and never told anyone at school about my rides. Here comes the revenge. We had a class sports day, and there was a bus arranged to take us to the top of a mountain about an hour and away where we were to go on a hike. Our PE teacher said that if anyone wants, he will cycle up there and we could join him on the climb instead of the hike. I was the only one to volunteer. He was surprised and commented something to the effect of keeping up and not going to wait for you. But I insisted. Okay, so now we see the challenge. PE teacher's like, anybody want to bike with me up there? Yeah, I got it. Yeah, this weakling's going to do it. Is that okay? The weakling's going to do it? Try it out? Yeah, I'll do it. I'll bike up there with him. He couldn't know I was more than capable to climb that mountain because he only saw me struggling with sports with him. He also couldn't know that that was my home hill, literally starting a kilometer from my house. I did that climb 100 plus times and knew it blind. Bro, your quads. You must got thick quads. Knew my pacing, and while I was no Tadej Pogacar, I'm sorry, Tadej Pogacar? I bet that's a great cyclist. I'm sorry. I didn't say his name right. Pronouncing it right is so extremely important.
Tadej Pogacar.
Oh my god, he's younger than me. He's 27. I knew I could probably drop my PE teacher at will there. For cyclists out there, the climb is 12.5 kilometers, 6.9% gradient, super regular.
Yeah.
For non-cyclists, a perfect climb for a lightweight rider with...
I actually think that exclusively PE teachers should be able to bully. Like, just the teachers who are physically imposing, and they have to be physically imposing. If they're just like a fat slob, fired. Physically imposing, drill sergeant style PE teachers should be allowed to bully. All the boys, extra hard, but the girls as well. And that way, it's like a, kind of like a sex ed class, but it's like a real life class.
Good pacing and stamina. So the day arrives and I did my warm-up, nutrition, and everything as if it were a life or death mountaintop time trial and rock up at school in my full racing kit with my racing bike. I was 17, I weighed 55 kilograms and was totally prepared. He was a typical middle-aged, overconfident ex-soccer player, probably weighing at about 90 kilograms on a standard mountain bike. Super perfect situation. He sets a relatively hard pace on the 10-kilometer flat before the climb, and I don't speak or take the front. I take my good time to get back on his wheel after intersections, and he probably thinks he will drop me the second we start going uphill. And then the climb starts, and it becomes very apparent to me, but not to him, that he is near his limit, but that it's at least 5 kilometers per hour slower than what I could do on that mountain. But I don't attack him. That would not be satisfying. Instead, I start bantering how someone's getting dropped today, and it would be embarrassing if the whole class sees how I beat him. And then I take over the pace and slowly start turning the screw on him. I went only a little faster, and then a bit more.
Agreed.
I knew after about 3 kilometers,
It's good, right?
he
It's like
was
a
in the
controlled
red.
little
So I
thing.
ease off, keeping him just slightly over his limit for the next half an hour. I wanted to make him suffer, but without dropping him. I let him recover for a tiny bit if he starts looking too bad, but then I would slowly push the tempo up to make it as painful to him as possible. It was Tour de France level mind games. I don't think I've ever enjoyed myself or my bike more. On my bike more. We made it up near the top together, and I let it rip on the last 300 meters or so, as it was typical humiliation attack every amateur group ride cyclist knows. He dropped like a stone. I got my revenge and was very happy with myself. He said something about his heavy bike, and I kept my mouth shut. It's like a stupid... Yeah, a mountain bike is pretty heavy versus a racing bike. But it got better. On the top, he was clearly dead. So much so, he had to vomit in the parking lot, and even if only a few classmates saw it, everyone knew. Oh, that's gotta feel so good, dude. Oh, that's gotta feel so good. Oh, yes, this is great. This is great, Petty Revenge. He had to sit out the hike after, and I just quietly sat there with him because I didn't need to do the hike like he promised, and just looked at him enjoying the sweet revenge. So you're just sitting there like... I didn't say anything after that, nor did he. He never made any comments to me in PE class again. Lesson, don't bully your students. They might surprise you. Yes, that's dumb, dude. Dude, I did not realize how out of shape I was until I got a Peloton during the pandemic. I was like, a 10-minute ride on a Peloton. I was like, oh, this is really bad. I'm really bad at this. Like, I thought I was in good shape, because I was at the time. I was like pretty, I was pretty buff back then, because I had nothing else to do. But then I get on a Peloton, and I was like, oh my God, my cardio is atrocious, dude.
True.
Like, strength is one thing, but your heart health, your heart capacity, your cardio really is a completely different skill set, dude. Man, I was so humbled just doing a single 15-minute, 10-minute Peloton class. So, yeah, I know this. I know how the teacher feels in terms of, like, really underestimating how tough cycling is. Yeah. Well, folks, I hope you have a good day. May your revenge be petty and bright, and may all your Revenge be petty and bright. I missed the note. Outro.
Anyone that you talk to about that, like they might say, "Oh, I'm so sorry you feel that way." In their head, they're thinking, "Dear God, man, shut up and stop. I got my own problems." Every single person you tell that to, that is what they're all thinking. It's just that none of them except me will tell you that. Finally, I want to close with this last thought, some words of encouragement in my own way for parents, especially fathers, as we begin the new year. I recently saw a viral post from a man named Justin Murphy, who tells us in his bio that he's a writer, a PhD, and a creative director, whatever that means, for some Silicon Valley company that I've never heard of. And Justin decided to ring in the new year by publicly airing his deepest parenting anxieties and personal insecurities in a tweet that has now been viewed, around 3 million times. And here's what he wrote. I'll read the whole thing. It's pretty long, but here's what he wrote. So just bear with me. Am I just a monster? It's been 4 years since I became a father, and I'm beginning to fear for my soul. The truth is, I just don't like being around kids for very long. Historically, this is not uncommon among fathers, but today it feels almost illegal. It's causing me a lot of confusion and anguish. The ideal amount of time I would like to spend playing with my kids is probably around 70 to 140 minutes a week, roughly 10 minutes each day, maybe 2 times a day, taking breaks from work. My feelings of love toward them are perfectly strong, but if I have to watch them or entertain them for more than about 10 minutes, my blood starts to boil. I just want to be working or accomplishing something. I try to be grateful, but it doesn't work. It's 9 a.m. this morning, Saturday, January 3rd. It's a sunny, warm day here in Austin, and my 4-year-old son is begging me to play catch in the street. I was drinking coffee, still waking up, so I didn't really feel like it, but at his age, his desire to play is insatiable. He begged and begged, so I conceded, and with a smile. I have no problem being a kind and loving father. The problem is only that I do not enjoy it. It's not that I'm trying to maximize my personal pleasure. It just seems wrong that I experience so little delight when my dad friends all claim to experience so much. It was beautiful. We live on a picturesque tree-lined block. I'm even relatively relaxed from the holiday rest. Playing catch with your son is supposed to be an iconic peak experience, yet for every single minute on the inside, I just don't want to be there. I want to be drinking my coffee in peace. Then I feel guilty and absurdly ungrateful and ashamed when we're done. I know that when he's a teenager, I'll long to have those days back. I have all this perspective rationally, and I've been very patient and steadfast trying to digest it, but nothing fixes me emotionally. Am I a terrible person? Or is my feeling within a certain range of historically normal and it's modern parenting norms that are off? Whether it's my fault or not, I don't even care. I just want to figure this out. Something is wrong, and I no longer have the excuse of being new to this. Okay, so to recap, Justin, the PhD Silicon Valley guy, says that he feels like a monster because he doesn't enjoy spending time with his son. And in his ideal scenario, he would be around his kid for like 10 minutes a day, anything more than that, and he boils with rage at how boring and unfulfilling the experience feels to him. He doesn't feel fulfilled or enthralled by parenting, and he feels really bad that he feels that way or doesn't feel that way. Every minute he's with his son, he feels like he just wants to be someplace else, and that makes him feel guilty, and he wants to know if this is normal. Now, there are a lot of comments responding to this confession or whatever it's supposed to be. Some of them are critical, some of them are supportive, reassuring Justin that he's not a monster. And they're right, he's not a monster. He's just weak and selfish, and he talks too much. He has the same problem that plagues millions of people in our society. He has a lot of company, though it isn't a very good company. So let me offer two pieces of advice to Justin and to any man who resonates with this ex-post / diary entry or whatever it's supposed to be. These are two of the most crucial lessons that I have learned from my experience parenting 6 kids. So number one, stop obsessing over how you feel. Spend time with your son. Stop worrying about how you feel about spending time with him. Because it doesn't really matter how you feel about it. You should play catch with your son, not because it's the most thrilling experience in the world, but because he's your son and you're his father, and that is what a father is supposed to do. Now, your primary role in your child's life is not to be his playmate, but playing with him, teaching him, being present, showing him how to throw and catch a ball, these kinds of things, that matters. And they're not meant to be exhilarating experiences. You know, he's 4 years old. 4-year-olds suck at playing catch. Like, he can't catch, he can't throw. Now, if you play with him now, then in a few years it will be more fun. Right? In a few years, he can go long, you can hit him on the deep fade, and it's a lot more fun that way. But for now, you're tossing a ball underhanded to a toddler standing 9 feet away who drops it 80% of the time. So now you know how Lamar Jackson feels, but that's a different story. I won't get into it. The enjoyment you get from this experience is not the thrill of playing a sport against high-level competition. It's not the relaxation of lounging on the sofa and sipping a coffee in peace. It's not going to be fun in either of those senses of the term. And the problem is that prior to having kids, those are the only kinds of fun that a person can experience. Like in your pre-parenting life, a fun thing, right? If you call something fun and you're not a parent, what you're saying is that either the fun thing is relaxing or it's exciting. That's what you mean by fun. Relaxing or exciting. Like the only fun things are one of those two. But spending time with your children, especially young children, well, it's rarely going to fit either bill. It certainly isn't relaxing most of the time. And it's usually not very exciting. The people like Justin, they become parents and they expect or hope that it will be fun in the way that things were fun before they had kids. And because it's not fun in that way, they become miserable and angry, and their blood boils, as Justin put it. Now, keep in mind that people these days are also dopamine addicts who need constant stimulation in order to feel like they're enjoying anything. And parenting does not offer that kind of enjoyment.
I'm coming home for lunch, so just wondering, you shower by any chance? Wait, when's your lunch? 12? I can shower. Your lunch 12? I can go shower real quick.
Most of the time. So that's part of the problem here. But there is a third kind of fun that is available to you if you can manage to take your head out of your ass long enough to experience it. It's the fun that comes from teaching, from guiding, from fulfilling your fatherly obligation and doing what you should be doing. It's the fun of watching your children learn and grow. It's the fun of seeing that they're having fun. You know, it's the fun of glimpsing the world through their eyes, if only briefly. And another word for this kind of fun is contentment. Now, I've never had a game of catch with a 4-year-old that was thrilling or relaxing. I've never felt that kind of fun in that context. But I have felt, as someone who's played catch many times with kids of all ages, I have felt a great deal of contentment, where I knew that I was where I should be, doing what I should be doing, with people I love, in a place where I belong. And that is something better than fun. That's happiness. It's a very adult kind of happiness, which is hard for overgrown adolescents like Justin to experience. You'll never feel that contentment or any other positive emotion if you spend all of your time with your child dwelling on how you feel about spending time with your child. Now, the truth is that sometimes you'll feel annoyed, sometimes you'll feel tired, sometimes you'll feel bored. You'll also feel contentment, you'll feel joy, you'll feel a deep sense of love and belonging. You'll feel all of those things, the good and the bad, at the same time, sometimes. That's just called being a conscious human. You feel a lot of things all the time. The only way to respond to that as a man, if you want to be productive and stable and reliable, is to stop worrying about your feelings. feel however you feel. It doesn't matter. Okay? What matters is what you do. The only other option is to get stuck in a doom loop of constantly contemplating your feelings and your feelings about your feelings and your feelings about how you feel about how you feel about your feelings, and on and on and on, down the rabbit hole of your own self-obsession. Meanwhile, all your son wants is for you to walk outside and throw a football around for a few minutes. And you're not even present in the moment because you're just thinking in your head the whole time, I don't know how I feel about it. Well, I feel bad that I feel this way. Well, I don't know how I should feel about how I feel. Just put that to the side and just throw the damn ball, okay? And that brings us to the second piece of advice, which is even more important, which is this.
Yeah, 12. But otherwise, I'll be
This is
home
something
around
everyone can
5:30.
take with
Yeah,
them
yeah,
as we
yeah,
go
yeah.
into the make this one of your 2026 New Year's resolutions.
I will
Stop
shower real
revealing your most intimate feelings and deeply personal anxieties on the internet. Okay, the internet is not a place for you as a grown man to spill your guts and open up your heart for the world to see. None of us out here in the world can do anything about or with these personal details that you've revealed, except judge you harshly for them, which we will. You can't blame us. I mean, you could tell us this stuff about yourself and say, don't judge me. Well, sorry, I'm judging you. I can't help but form a perspective on this information. I'm a person with a brain. I have a perspective on anything. And so you've given me this information about you. I'm going to form a perspective on it. My perspective is not flattering to you. Like most of us never heard of you before this post. We'll never hear of you again. We now know only one thing about you. And it's the only thing we'll ever know, which is that you're the guy who gets pissed off if he has to be around his own kid for more than 10 minutes. That's all you will ever be to us, forever now. Which is why you should not have opened up in the first place.
I want to keep
In fact,
watching
and
now.
here's the thing that will be really hard for most people to hear. There are a lot of
Other stuff I should be doing anyway.
feelings, worries, and anxieties that you shouldn't share with anyone, even in your private life. Okay? This is a good example. If you don't like being around your kid, that is the kind of inner struggle that you actually should not reveal to a single soul in the world.
True.
Again, I
You
realize this
die
is
with that
way
struggle.
outside of modern orthodoxy. The idea that there should be any feeling that you just never tell anyone. Like, I could never tell anyone? Yeah, you should just never tell anyone that. Well, what am I going to do with this feeling? I don't know. Just forget about it. You shouldn't tell strangers that for the reasons I've already described. You shouldn't tell your wife.
True.
Because now all you've done is saddled her with this knowledge about you. She can't do anything with the information either except think less of you because of it, which she will. Okay? It's not because she doesn't love you. But if you go to your wife and say, you know, honey, I'm really struggling. I just really hate being around our kid. I can't be around our son for more than 10 minutes without my blood boiling.
I'll leave her at 12 and be
Don't you
around
feel
2 at
sorry
15.
for me?
Perfect.
No, now she thinks less of you. And she always will. Like she can't, not gonna be able to get that out of her head. She might pretend to be sympathetic, or maybe she won't even pretend.
Hopefully she won't
What do you
pretend.
want? She's gonna pat you on the head?
No.
She'll pat you on the head and say, oh,
No,
I'm
what?
so sorry. I'm so sorry it's hard for you to just be around our child we created together. But she's gonna think less of you. And same goes for anyone else that you divulge this information to. Now, you could tell a close male confidant. I mean, that's your best option if you're going to tell anyone. But that's not going to solve your problem either. Because your problem, like if you can't be around your kid for more than 10 minutes at the age of 4, which, by the way, isn't even like a hard age, like being a 4-year-olds are easy to deal with. And if you can't be around them for more than 10, like the problem is that you are very selfish and very weak. And nobody can fix that problem for you.
Weak bitch.
Nobody can do anything about it. Nothing. You just need to get over yourself. That is the only solution. And nobody can implement that solution but you. You could go talk to a therapist. You could spend 10 years in therapy. It won't get you past square one. The problem is that you're being weak and selfish. Get the hell over yourself. That's it. I want another solution. I need to get to the bottom of these feelings. I just got to the bottom of them for you. You're weak and selfish. Stop being that way. I don't know what else to tell you. Now, people these days, even grown men, they walk around every day desperately looking for someone who will fix their feelings for them. Billions of dollars have been spent on drugs and therapy for this purpose. But the truth that nobody will tell these people, partly because it would cut off the cash flow, is that nobody can fix your feelings. The best thing you can do about them, the only thing you can do about them, really, most of the time, is shut the hell up about them and go live your life. Now, I realize that this sounds harsh. I realize that it goes against everything we're programmed to believe. The world tells us that we should be honest about our feelings. We should open up. We should be vulnerable. We should talk it out. But the cold, hard reality is that most of your feelings
are bullshit.
You should keep to yourself. You shouldn't make them anyone else's burden or business. They are your feelings. We can't help you with them. I'm sorry. Again, nobody, not one person on this earth can solve your feelings for you or make you feel differently than you do or do anything about your feelings at all. Now, it's not to say that you should never divulge any of your feelings about anything. Obviously, that's not the case. And it's not to say that you shouldn't seek help if you're in a truly dire state. It's only to say what is true, which is that you should keep most of that stuff to yourself, and your feelings are not a problem that anyone else can solve. Like most of the time when you complain about your feelings to someone, whether it's a stranger or your spouse or your therapist or anyone else, they'll pretend to care, but deep down they find your self-pitying whining to be extremely annoying and off-putting. You know, when you sit there hours on end, I feel this way, this is how I feel. This is how I feel, but I feel like this when I'm doing this. I was playing catch with my son, but this is how I felt about it. It was so hard to feel this way. Anyone that you talk to about that, like they might say, oh, I'm so sorry you feel that way. In their head, they're thinking, dear God, man, shut up and stop. I got my own problems. Every single person you tell that to, that is what they're all thinking. It's just that none of them except me will tell you that. If you've ever been fortunate enough to taste fresh fish directly from the source, you know that there is a massive quality difference from what you get packaged at your local grocery store. Getting fresh fish, though, is not easy, and that's why I'm excited about our new sponsor, Wild Alaskan Company. I was skeptical about a subscription box for seafood, but very pleasantly surprised.
Cumin?
You feel all the time. Constantly complain about your feelings to your wife, and it will not be long until she feels contempt for you. And rightly so, by the way. Yeah. You're supposed to be a man, and here you are just like unloading your emotional baggage constantly, just whining about everything. Whining about how you felt when you played catch with your son. Like, how is your wife supposed to feel about that? I don't know how else she could feel other than resentment.
Yes.
All you can do with your feelings,
they suck a dick.
Feelings like the one you described, is put them to the side and do your duty. Okay? What would if your grandfather's still alive, and you went to him and said,
very disappointed.
Granddad, I was playing catch with my son, and I just felt, I just don't feel, I'm not into it. I just feel, what would he say to you? He would look at you like he would look at you with disgust and say, like, pull yourself together. What are you crying about? You know, carry your emotions quietly like a man and do what you're supposed to do. And here's the good news, especially for fathers starting a new year. Okay? If you do this, if you stop living as a slave to your feelings, you will actually feel better. Not immediately, not on command, but slowly, naturally, as a byproduct of living rightly instead of this endless, pointless navel-gazing. Purpose precedes pleasure. Meaning comes before happiness. Your son doesn't need you to be endlessly delighted by every second you spend in his presence, and you're not going to be. But he needs you to be present. And one day, sooner than you think, he won't ask you to play catch anymore. And when that day comes, you won't remember how bored you felt. You'll remember whether you were there, and so will he. So stop whining. Stop interrogating your emotions. Stop staring into the mirror trying to crack the code of your own inner experience. Just pick up the ball.
Cool.
And go play catch with yourself.
Very cool third move. I like it.
It really is that simple. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh.
No, I did not mean to click that. Okay. I love you. I will go do the shower thing. I will see you in 45 minutes when I'm clean. I love you. I love you. Say you love me. I'm going to assume that you're lagging. And I'm going to assume that you've already typed, I love you. As I know these things. Okay. I love you.